Hello, and welcome to Horror Movies and Shit. I'm your host, Jim, and with me as always is...
I'm super pumped, Jim.
No, you're Mark.
Super pumped.
No, you're Mark.
Do you know why?
Well, Mark, before we get to your...
No.
No.
Do you know
No.
why?
Before we get to you...
Jim, shut up. Do you know why?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so for once in our entire years of interaction, you actually gave me some good feedback.
Did I?
Yes.
On what?
So I was going to say, well, it's just past halfway through the year. So if we get to it, maybe I'll, have a bit of a look back on the horror movies that I've watched this year, and that will be, an interesting conversation.
Will it?
You said nobody would care, which led me to, well, duh. What's the big movie out right now? And it's Longlegs, which I saw yesterday.
Right.
So thank you. I have a lot of material about this. So I appreciate it, Jim.
Mark, can we introduce our guest, please?
Yes, we have Mr. Ian Van Ghoul, which I believe is his actual name. Ian, is that true?
I wish it was. I'm considering changing it legally. So,
Mark, who's Ian?
Ian is a TikTok star and podcaster with some of the podcasters we had on before, where Jim hung up his headphones for 15 minutes and just noped out because he couldn't take it anymore.
It was 10 minutes. I'm sure he's heard the whole story.
I am familiar with it, yeah.
It was one of the best podcasts ever.
It was not.
Not for you.
Anyway. No, not for me. So
for the audience.
Yeah, right.
And for me.
Ian, thank you for joining us today, and I apologize for Mark in advance. He's going to be himself, unfortunately.
Who else would I be?
Exactly. Hey, Mark, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about horror movies and shit, Jim.
We are. What horror movies specifically?
Longlegs.
No.
Yes?
No.
Okay, well, if it's
you get 3 minutes at the end of the podcast to discuss it.
If it's not Longlegs, what is it, Jim?
We're talking about our favorite horror movies and what got us into the genre.
I feel there's going to be a lot of nostalgia from your picks, Jim.
There usually is. That's not untrue. Ian, does that bother you? Does nostalgia bother you?
No, I'm all about it.
See, Mark?
No, nostalgia is not a bad thing inherently. It's just a bad thing when that's the only lens you view every single movie ever made through. But
it's not. Or I wouldn't like any modern films.
Well, we can stop our little bitching.
Anyway, so Mark, let's start with you. What is the first movie you remember watching that got you to fall in love with the horror genre?
So again, there was the three pillars.
No, I'm asking about the first movie, not the three pillars.
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
That's it was actually okay. So the third one I remember was after the first two. So it was either Jaws or Poltergeist.
Okay. So, and you got into Poltergeist because you love Tobe Hooper, right?
Yep.
His favorite director ever.
Tobe Hooper made one of the best horror movies ever made.
Yeah?
Yes.
Which one?
Obviously The Mangler, Jim.
Obviously. So anyway, Ian, enough with his nonsense. What about you? What was the first horror movie you remember watching that you said, I flippin' love this?
So mine's a little different story because when I was real little, probably like 4 or 5, we would go to my grandmother's house like once a year, and she loved horror movies. It's the one thing I remember about her. And so she, anytime we were there, she was playing, there was always horror movies on the TV. So my first like memory or image of a horror movie was probably Hellraiser 2, when the dad is returned from hell. He's all fucking skinned and he's just sitting against the wall and says, "Help me, I'm in hell."
Right.
Like that image is forever burned into me.
Although that wasn't him, right? That was Frank.
No, in the second one. In the second one, it was supposed to be the dad.
The second one, it wasn't her dad. It was Frank.
No, but she thought it was her dad. She thought it was her dad.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was either that or The Fly or The Fly 2. of
Oh,
images of both of those. So I don't remember if I watched the whole movie at that time, but that's the first images I remember, and they
Mhm.
scared the hell out of me, obviously. But that was kind of what lit the fire
Yeah.
of loving horror movies. So the first one that once I was old enough and I actually went to see, the first one I remember is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003,
Okay.
and I absolutely loved it. It was a midnight showing back when they still had those. And yeah, I love the whole experience of it, and that was kind of what reignited that fire, and it's been downhill ever since.
Yeah.
uphill,
Or what, Mark?
uphill, not downhill.
Uh, whichever way.
It depends on your perspective, really. I mean, come on. We got some of these movies do go downhill
So,
quite quickly.
so Ian, it sounds like your kind of seminal movies you got into were very much like body horror. Is that something that you come back to, or is it just horror in general, or is there a
I
favorite subgenre or anything like?
I mean, I love it all in general. But I mean, I'm a huge fan of body horror. It just happened to be those were the first ones that I was kind of introduced to. But yeah, I mean, I love body horror, but my favorite subgenre is probably slasher.
Yeah, I agree. I can always get into a slasher movie. I don't care if it's crap.
Absolutely, yeah.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yep. I don't care if it's garbage. I can always get into a slasher because I'm either rooting for, well, actually, at this point in my life, I'm generally rooting for the killer.
Well, everybody does.
Because,
That's the whole point.
I mean, let's be honest, that most of the slashers, especially nowadays, and it's probably my age because I can't relate to them anymore. I don't relate to the 20 something crowd so much. I generally find them annoying. So I'm always rooting for the killer.
Um, Apologies to our 20-something listeners,
All three of them. Yes.
both of them.
So for me, the first movie I ever remember watching was A Nightmare on Elm Street. And it was on HBO. My mother had taped it. Mark's heard this story before, but my mother taped it off of HBO because that's how old we were. And I came home from school and she kept saying, I taped your favorite movie off TV. So I looked at the TV guide, and the only movie I could see was A Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm like, I don't know what this is. So she decided we were going to watch it that night after it got dark. I was hooked instantly. Freddy will always be number one to me. I don't care how horrible the movies are. Mark?
Jim, how would you rate the Final Nightmare?
The Final Nightmare was garbage, but I still love it.
How would you rate it?
I'd probably be a 3 out of 10.
And you love it.
I do.
Okay, moving on.
But my love is for the character, not for the movie.
So, Ian, what are some of your favorite horror movies?
Oh, there's a lot. My go-to though, my favorite of all time is The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing. With that is Halloween and Evil Dead, the original. But yeah, I don't know. I have so many favorites, but those are my top three. From there, I love Trick or Treat. Recently, last year was Dark Harvest. I love that one.
That was great. That was a huge surprise.
Yeah, absolutely.
I suppose we could almost break it down into subgenre because there is so many great movies out there. So slasher, you mentioned Halloween. Would that be your favorite slasher?
Yeah, Halloween would probably be my favorite of all time. I have mad love for Hatchet and Intruder. Intruder's I think that's still a really underrated one from the 80s. That one's really fun.
Sam Raimi.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Vampire.
Near Dark.
Yep, mine too. Jim.
I'm not a big fan of the vampire subgenre.
Neither am I.
Blood and Donuts would probably be my favorite vampire film. I love that movie. It's so bad.
I don't know what that is.
I know. It's okay though.
Yeah. Zombie movie.
It's got to be Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead.
Mark?
Return of the Living Dead.
Okay.
Is my favorite.
Which I just watched recently, right, Mark?
Yes, because I made you.
For the first time. I just got introduced to Tarman this year.
Really?
Apparently,
Yeah.
They're looking to remake it, which sounds like a disaster.
It could be. Could be okay, right?
You know about the whole Dan O'Bannon thing?
Who, me or Ian?
Well, both.
I don't.
Ian, have you seen Return of the Living Dead?
Oh, absolutely. It is one of my favorites. It's just not my favorite.
Yeah, that's
So like Dan O'Bannon was a bit of a a fucking nut job, and he invited one of the actresses to come over to his house to have her, try out for the role. And she looked through the window, and he was sitting there watching porn with it like a handgun next to him. And she was like, "Oh my god, what am I getting myself into?" He was
Yeah, I
like one of
heard
those crazy geniuses.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Let's see, found footage.
Oh, wow. Probably Wreck.
Mm.
No, Jim.
Mine was, I'm not a huge fan of found footage, and I've only seen maybe one or two that I've really enjoyed, and Frogman is the one that comes to mind most recently.
This one's a little bit difficult for me because obviously it was half found footage and it's Cannibal Holocaust. I
Okay.
think the granddaddy of them all.
Yep.
But I really love VHS 2. I think it's one of the best anthologies out there.
I agree. Yeah.
I saw VHS 85 is the only one I saw, and it was terrible. The wraparound was good, but the vignettes were terrible.
Okay, so we talked about The Thing. So aside from The Thing, like sci-fi.
Oh, that's easy. It's gonna be Alien all the way.
Yeah. I mean, Aliens up there. Event Horizon, though, I love. It's
So-
probably my favorite horror in space.
Here it comes. Here it comes. Go ahead, Mark.
So Ian, how would you rate out of 10 Event Horizon?
I give it probably at least an 8.
Is it in your top 10 movies of all time, horror movies, or is it close to it?
That's a good question. I'd have to like sit down and think, but
Right.
it would be close at least.
Right. Jim, how would you rate Event Horizon?
That's about a 6 out of 10.
Is it in your top 10
It
favorite
is.
horror movies of all time?
Yeah.
Ian, do you think that's a little strange? You can
I
be
mean,
honest.
maybe a little, but I mean,
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
Yep.
So here's my problem with Event Horizon, right? I love the movie. I saw it when it came out, and I saw it in theaters. It was an amazing experience. Just nowadays, the CGI doesn't hold up, right? It looks like garbage, to be perfectly honest. And that's why I reduced the rating. It doesn't hold up over time. The CGI doesn't hold up over time. I still love the movie.
Do you know what's funny, Jim? I saw Carlos posted about some movie he watched, and he's like, it was okay. I thought it was fine, 7 out of 10. And I was going to write back to him and say, wow, that's better than one of Jim's top 10 movies of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mark hates that I have that in my top 10 and I rate it that low.
No, I don't hate it. I just find it funny.
You hate it, or you wouldn't bring it up so much.
It's funny. Okay. So like survival horror, if that's a genre.
I mean, it is, but it's so broad.
I'm trying to think what would be in that.
So okay, so I'll put it like this, like surviving nature, right? So I'm gonna say things like Frozen, Open Water.
But then you have The Ritual, right? Or
Right.
not The Ritual, but oh god, what was the Ringing Flowers movie?
The what?
The one with the flowers that imitated cell phones. What the fuck was that horrible?
The Ruins.
The Ruins. Thank you. I hate that movie. That drove me nuts.
I have to think about that for a minute.
I don't know if this one would qualify for it, but it's also sort of a creature feature, like The Descent, right? Because they're cave diving. That's nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's also sort of a creature feature because of the mutated people.
I mean, survival horror is probably more apt for the gaming world than
that's fair. So like The Last of Us would be survival horror.
Resident Evil.
Yeah, Resident Evil.
It is a poster child. How about ghost or haunting movies?
Ooh. You go ahead, Jim. I gotta think.
Poltergeist.
Oh,
100%. That's still a 10 out of 10 for me. The special effects hold up, Mark. That's the difference.
do they, Jim?
They do.
All of them?
Yeah.
So the guy ripping off his face looks great.
It never looked great.
Nicholas?
It
So
never
it
looked
doesn't
great.
hold up. Okay, so if it looked bad then, It's
And I
okay
still love
now.
it. Right. It still looks bad.
Right, well, Event Horizon, it looked okay then.
Right. So
Right,
because
so
it
it's
doesn't
okay
look
now.
okay now, the rating gets reduced.
So it's so soul destroying talking to Jim.
I know. I'm not an easy person. I did offer to change my TikTok handle to Jim Hates Movies.
Right, that's very.
Sorry. Anyway.
So Ian, sorry, Ghosts.
Yeah. I don't know what my favorite would be, but currently, Last Shift.
Oh, that's
That's a
fantastic.
good one. Have you seen? Oh God, it makes a great double bill with it. Last Shift and I have to look it up. Anyway, Jim, go ahead with something while I look
Well,
this
are you
up.
going to give us your favorite ghost movie, Mark?
Me, The Legend of Hell House.
The
Oh,
original?
yeah.
There's only one.
Oh, that's right. Never mind. Never mind. I keep getting that. I always get that confused with the Haunting of Hill House. Anyway. So we did slasher. What about, okay, so let's do creature feature. What's your favorite creature feature?
Okay, I just remembered it's Let Us Pray, and I don't know if you've seen that.
It's been a while. I need to revisit that one, but yeah, I've seen it once.
They're kind of both the same as far as like the abandoned building and ghosts and like weird stuff.
Mhm.
I was so bad waiting for him to say Malum so I could call him on his bullshit.
Game what?
Malum, which is essentially an extended version of Last Shift.
Yeah, it's
With a
it's
bit-
a remake by the same writer-director, but
Right.
it's just unnecessary.
Yeah, it's a bigger budget and it destroys the story.
Budget isn't everything.
Anyway, Mark,
Yes. What was your topic?
creature feature.
Jaws.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm gonna say Nightbreed.
That's a great one. That I saw that in the theaters.
So,
Hell yeah.
can we talk a little bit about Nightbreed, like the Cabal cut or the extended cut?
Oh, it's so much better.
It is minus one part in it, which is grating. Probably one of them. So whenever he goes to visit what's her face in the bar and she's singing,
Mhm.
that is awful. Like they should have just kept that cut. Like
That's fair.
you know, she tried, great, but it's awful. Jim?
I mean, that's fair. My favorite creature feature. So I do love Jaws, but the one that scared the shit out of me is The Prophecy from 1979. That bear wrecked me.
Yeah, that's a good movie. Armand Asante as a Native American is a little weird, but you know, it's a different time back then.
It's no weirder than Johnny Depp playing Tonto in The Lone Ranger.
Well, no, apparently he's got native background, Jim.
Jeff wants to know if my mom was with me for The Prophecy. Yes, Jeff, I watched The Prophecy with my mother.
So, Ian, I don't know if you've heard
God.
about Jim's childhood, but Jim's had a very interesting childhood, which has really molded him into the awful being he is right now. You know, it's not his fault. He was a child, and his mother subjected him to the entity. He also went to the movie theater and sat beside some Pee Wee Herman-esque.
Do we have to bring this up now?
But no, I bring this up, Jim, because you seem very interested in the alien popcorn buckets. And I just wonder if that was
What does
true.
that have to do with this?
Well, you know, did they offer you popcorn?
No.
Because
So Ian, because I'm not going to take it for granted you listen, but there's actually context to this story.
Mhm.
From the time I was 9 until I was 11, I went to the movies alone 3 times. I sat next to men that were enjoying themselves a little too much. So I did not go to the theater from 11 to 24 by myself.
That's fair. Understandable.
and these were 3 different men who just happened to sit beside Jim randomly,
Yes.
which seems a little unbelievable, Jim.
What do you want me to tell you? Winter Haven is an interesting place.
So I have a question. Did your mom drop you off?
No, I walked. It was right around the corner from my house.
Did your mom know that you were going?
Yes.
Did your mom have any extra money whenever you came back?
Are you trying to insinuate my mother was pimping me out?
I would never say that to her. I was just asking a question.
Okay, let's move on. Jeff, that is disgusting. Jeff just said the Victor Salvo Film Fest. Anyway, continue, Mark, please. Let's get off this subject.
Okay. What about? I know you, Ian mentioned Wreck, but your favorite foreign horror movie that's maybe not Wreck, if that's your favorite.
Um. Oh wow, that's a good one. Probably my go-to is Tokyo Gore Police.
Oh yeah,
I still have not seen that.
great
need to.
splatterpunk.
I definitely need to see that.
Oh yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah. Mark,
It's good.
what is your favorite foreign horror film, Mark?
Just tell me.
It's Martyrs, I know. 2006 or 2008. I always get the year wrong.
2008.
Yeah, it was a decent film. I enjoyed it. Mark forced me to watch that one too. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I love that one. That's my favorite French one.
Yeah.
Okay, how about your favorite revenge horror?
Ooh, I love revenge horror.
Ooh, I'm gonna think about that one too.
Jim, what about you?
Revenge horror, revenge horror. I'd have to go with Last House on the Left.
Which is a remake of which movie, Jim?
I don't remember, Mark.
Okay.
Mark,
Thanks.
your favorite revenge film?
It is, nobody does revenge movies quite like South Korea, especially. I Saw the Devil, I think, is just perfection.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'm drawing a blank on every revenge film ever.
So you got like rape revenge, you've got kind of like the martial arts, even the horror type stuff. You have what is it, Death Sentence?
Don't know that one.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's what that would be it. I don't really consider it horror,
Right.
but even though it's James Wan, but yeah, yeah, I would say that one for sure.
Jim?
I already gave you mine.
Oh, I know. Do you have another topic?
No, I'm waiting. You're the quiz master, Mark. So please continue.
No, well, now I'll talk about long legs for a while.
No, we're gonna continue to go down.
Long.
So let's go back. Let's go down to art house horror.
Ooh, elevated horror.
It's not elevated. It's pretentious horror.
About elevated.
So Ian, I don't know if you've seen the Cinema Society Saturday posts that we do.
Mm-hmm.
I got forced to watch Infinity Pool this weekend. That movie is such dog shit.
I just saw that review. Yeah.
Oh my god.
No,
it's so fucking awful.
Okay, how many points did you take off for Mia golfing?
37,000.
Right, there you go.
Yep. But even that doesn't save the movie. It's terrible. It's rich people being rich people and being horrible human beings.
No, I think the movie was good, but it just didn't explore the concept enough.
I don't know what you found redeeming about that film, Mark.
I like the way it was shot. I like the way it was acted. I like some of the questions that it posed, but I didn't think it explored certain aspects that it could.
As usual, you're wrong, but okay. What do you got, Mark? What is your favorite art house horror?
Maybe Antichrist, Lars von Trier.
Yep.
Which is just a beautiful fucked up movie.
That's fair enough.
Have you seen it, Jim?
No.
So
I said it's fair enough. I appreciate your reasoning. That's all. And I did start off that comment with I haven't seen it, so I'm not being a poser, sir. What about you, Ian?
I'm trying to think of what all would fit in there. The first thing that comes to mind would be the coffee table.
Okay.
If that fits in that category.
Sure it does.
Somebody was it last week or a couple of weeks ago? People were talking about the coffee table.
It was last week. I think Emily brought it up, didn't she?
I think so. And I'm like, oh, I have to look that up, but I have.
I am torn between two films. when we talk about art house horror, and that is Velvet Buzzsaw. I like the entire vibe of that film was just off, and I loved it. It made me so uncomfortable through the whole thing. And then Deep Dark, and then Darling from 2015 gets an honorable mention. That was a great descent into madness.
Is that art house though, Jim?
Yes, I think so.
Define art house.
It's going to be almost, I consider it to be almost experimental horror. So something like Skinamarink, other than being analog horror, could be considered art house horror because it's supposed to be cerebral.
Is it?
I didn't get through more than 7 minutes of Skinamarink.
So in your,
I'm not smart enough to understand that
so,
film.
So in you're a little younger than Jim here.
Mhm.
So apparently, I don't know if you've seen Skinamarink.
I have you.
It was more effective for the younger generation, is what I've heard. What do you think of it?
I wasn't sure what I was getting into when I started watching it, and I almost gave up on it halfway through.
Yeah.
But I said I made it this far. Fuck it. We're gonna get through it. By the end of it, I really enjoyed it
Yeah.
because there is some like genuinely creepy shit in that. I feel like it's a little too long, but when you look at it from like the kind of viewpoint of a child, which is what they do in that, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't revisited it since I've watched it the first time, but like I said, I am a fan of it,
Yeah.
but I definitely completely understand the people who don't like it as well.
You know what I do really appreciate, and this has nothing to do with the film itself. It's more to do with the creators and the actors. Is I am friends with Jamie, who was the mom in Skinamarink, and she is freaking amazing to talk to because whether you love it or you hate it, she wants to hear what you think. She wants to hear what you liked or what you did not like about the film.
That has got nothing to do with the movie, Jim.
It does for me. It makes a difference. I still don't like the movie.
So pick the worst movie you've ever seen.
Okay.
And now say you're friends with one of the actors who's very open to receiving feedback.
Okay.
Does that elevate the movie for you?
No, just like it didn't with this one. I just appreciate the actors and the people involved with making the film when they're willing to hear a negative opinion and not be offended by it.
Cool. Okay. How about and you know, I'm just going to off the bat take The Exorcist out of it. Your favorite possession movie?
Oh, that's easy.
I mean, Evil Dead.
It's a good one. It's solid. Mark?
You know what? I'm going to say Wreck 2, which I think is better than Wreck. I love Wreck, but I think Wreck 2 does what a sequel needs to.
Haven't seen either one of them. I refused to watch them after I saw Quarantine.
Yeah, you might have seen Quarantine with your favorite actress.
I did, and it was terrible, just like she is. Anyway, I'm gonna go with. I'm torn between two, and
Repossessed.
that's gonna be what?
Repossessed.
No, I do love Repossessed, but no, that's not it. I loved The Taking of Deborah Logan. I
Yep.
thought it was a fantastic. Is she really, or is she just suffering from mental illness? And I love The Possession of Michael King.
Okay, cool.
Mark, you look like you're gonna vomit. Do you not like The Possession of Michael King?
Never seen it.
It's really good. You should watch it. Ian, have you seen it?
No, I still haven't yet to see that one. I love Deborah Logan though.
Yeah, I think I might have started it for whatever reason.
I liked it. I liked it. It was a good fuck around and find out kind of movie.
Okay. Oh, here's one for you, Ian. Favorite black and white horror movie?
Ooh. That's a tough one. I love the older black and white ones too. I'm gonna say House on Haunted Hill.
Balloon Castle. Amazing. Jim?
Favorite black and white? The Haunting of Hill House. The dinner scene where they're all recounting their paranormal experiences still bothers me to this day. The story about the raining stones was just it got under my skin.
The Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah.
You mean The Haunting?
Yeah, same thing.
The original, the Robert Wise one.
Yes, the Robert Wise movie.
I'm going to cheat here because
You usually do.
black and white synonymous, obviously, with older movies, but I'm going to say Human Centipede 2.
Good one.
Okay. What else you got for us, Mark?
Favorite 80s movie, since it's the best decade of movies ever. And you
Okay.
can't say one that you said before, so just whatever the next one down your list is.
That's fair.
Night of the Creeps.
Love it.
Yeah, that's solid. That's solid. Mark?
Oh. So I think Evil Dead 2 is the quintessential 80s horror.
Okay.
Jim?
This one's really tough for me because I have movies that I will put on at any moment, but the one that I enjoy the most, and it is objectively a terrible film. So let me start out by saying it's objectively awful, but I love it, is One Dark Night with Meg Tilly.
So if it's objectively awful, why do you like it, Jim?
I have no idea. I've never been able to quantify why I love that
Nostalgia.
movie. Nostalgia. Why?
When did you watch it?
I believe the first time I watched it was in the 90s when Netflix first started sending out DVDs.
Okay. When you were younger.
I don't know, almost 20.
Yeah, younger.
So why do you love Evil Dead 2, Mark? When did you see it? How old were you?
In fact, I think I saw Evil Dead 2 before I saw the first one, because I believe the first one was still banned. Whenever I was younger. I love it just because it's fast paced, it's funny, the effects are great.
Nostalgia.
No? I'm telling you why, Jim.
I know. I'm kidding, Mark. Anyway, continue.
I can actually explain why I like movies.
Yeah, I have absolutely zero understanding of why I love that movie, but I absolutely love it.
Okay. What else? I'm looking around me. A favorite clown horror movie. Yeah, because I was just looking at the killer clowns.
It's definitely not the one I watched this afternoon with John Candy. That was terrible. Did you know John Candy was in a clown horror movie in 1976?
No.
Called The Clown Murders, and it's fucking awful. I fell asleep 3 times.
We have to watch it.
It's on Tubi.
All right. I don't know. I love clown horror, so it's hard for me to say. Just narrow it down to one. Right now, I would say Circus of the Dead.
I keep hearing about it, and I haven't watched it yet, but everybody's obsessed with Popcorn right now.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's brutal.
Mark?
Actually, it's a fairly new one, which kind of blew me away. I wasn't expecting shit from it. It's super dark, super funny, and just really weird. And that's actually the movie Clown.
Is that the one where the guy peels off his nose?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
it kind of starts off like a goofy comedy.
Yep.
And then goes super dark at the end.
Yeah.
And
Veronica is totally on board with Popcorn, by the way, Ian, just so you know.
What's that?
But Veronica is totally on board with Popcorn.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe Jeff said Terrifier. That movie is not great, but I do love the character of Art the Clown. I just don't think the vehicle he's in is great.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of the first one, but I love the second one.
Yeah.
the second one was better, but was too long.
That's true.
It's like 2.5 hours. I mean,
I haven't seen the second one yet, so I don't know.
It's definitely more brutal, and there's a lot more going on, and there's an actual story around it.
Yeah.
But again, it's 2.5 hours long. It should have been at most 2 hours, but I'm interested to see what they do with the third one.
Fair enough.
Okay, your favorite extreme, or maybe the most extreme horror movie you've seen, or they could be synonymous. I don't know.
And that's subjective, right? I mean, what
Well,
one person
everything's
thinks
subjective.
is taboo or out of bounds is not really for somebody else.
Everything's subjective, Jim. I'm asking about your subjective opinion.
Outside of French Extremity, since we said Martyrs already, I'm gonna say Flowers
Haven't seen that one.
I
on
haven't heard of
YouTube.
that. What's that about?
It's a silent film. There's no dialogue, but it's five or six ladies wake up under like the floorboards of a house, and they're dead, like they were killed. So
Yeah.
it's them kind of trying to get out, figure out what's going on, and kind of reliving what they went through.
Oh wow.
It's super brutal and disturbing and all that, but it also has like these really beautiful moments and like with the music and shit. Like I don't know, it hit for me for sure.
Nice.
Jim?
I think my mouse just died. I was trying
I'm,
to do I
I'm
was trying to
sorry.
do
What was his name?
You're not funny, Mark. You're absolutely not funny. See, that's rough. I'm trying to think of.
Is it Atros, Jim?
I've never seen H-Roz, Mark.
Hey, I've got a copy of it if you want me to send it to you.
I don't care. I'm not watching that film.
Well, that's not very nice.
Yeah, I'm not watching that film. I'm just trying to think of because I don't know that I've seen that many extreme films. But when we talked to Veronica about it, I had seen a lot of the ones that you guys talked about, but I don't know, they just didn't resonate with me. I think the most quote unquote extreme thing that I've seen is probably Aftermath from 1994. It's on YouTube. And it was just meh. I didn't find anything shocking about it. I know Colby was flipping over it and he's like, "Oh, you have to watch it. You have to watch it." So I put it on while we were in a live on TikTok and he's like, "You're not even reacting." Yeah, I know.
Oh, is that the one in the morgue?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was something.
It was but everything was just like a natural progression. You saw everything coming, so it wasn't really shocking to me. Mark?
So I've already talked about um, Antichrist, Cannibal Holocaust, and Human Centipede 2, which
Yep.
I think are all up there. And probably just because it's less known. You know, a lot of Cat 3s are pretty extreme. The Untold Story with
Yeah.
Anthony.
You've talked about that. I haven't seen it though. That's fair.
Ian, are you familiar with Cat 3 movies?
Only by title. I haven't seen them.
Okay. So they're like Hong Kong. The category 3 is like the X rating.
Okay.
So especially in the 90s, there was like Red to Kill, Ebola Syndrome, whole bunch in there. So if you haven't seen them, there's a lot to look into.
Great.
So I have a question for you, Mark. What is your favorite horror movie based on a video game?
Probably the first Silent Hill.
Okay. Fair
I
enough.
think I think that although it's not perfect, it kind of got the atmosphere that Silent Hill was going for.
Yep.
Um, but I'll probably think of another one, and then I'll be like, "Oh, I forgot about that." But that's the first one that comes to mind.
You probably. What about you, Ian?
I would agree. Silent Hill is probably my favorite. But not to take his answer, I'll switch it up and say Dead Space, the animated film.
Yeah. Fair enough.
That's pretty gnarly.
I saw that a while ago. I don't remember much about that. I think that's on Netflix or something. I might have to rewatch it.
I have two actually, and that is Stay Alive, which I thought was a well shot film and a lot of fun.
Well, hang on. Is that based on a video game?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. And then House of the Dead. It's over the top. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I fucking love it. I don't care.
Oh my God. So Uwe Boll is one of Jim's favorite movie directors.
Just
See?
rewatched that not long ago. It's ridiculous.
Stay.
See, now he's gonna try and prove me wrong.
No. I'm just interested because I know there was a game involved in it.
Right. There's a storyline about a game, but I thought it was an actual video game.
Um,
Yeah. Oh no, it's not. It's a fictional 3D game. But okay, so we'll take that out of the equation. There you go.
you're welcome, Jim.
I really thought it was a real video game too.
Here at Horror Movies and Shit, we fact check as we talk.
do.
How about your favorite based on a true story? Now, not bullshit based on a true story, but actually based on a true story.
So who's going to define bullshit based on a true story, Mark?
So probably like serial killer stuff and not like supernatural bullshit.
So then why don't you just say serial killer movie?
Well, there could be other ones like Open Water. It's not based on a serial killer, but it's based on a true.
But I know you, and you're trying to rule out anything that's supernatural based because you think it's bullshit.
Yes.
Yeah. So why don't we just say that?
Well, you reframe it then, Jim.
So you want a movie that is based on a true story that is not related to the paranormal. That's what you're looking for.
Sure.
Is
Is Bigfoot considered paranormal?
I mean, I guess he could be, but he's more of a cryptid that's unproven.
Right. So I would not include those either. Can you reframe it again, Jim, just for
No, Mark, because now you're just getting pedantic.
I thought you were the pedantic one. Anyway,
I usually am.
Talking about like real life kind of true crime or
Well,
true situation that somebody found themselves in.
I'm sticking with my answer, and I don't care what you say, Mark. Anyway, go ahead, Ian. You first.
I'll go with Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Fantastic.
Mark?
Like
Mark, I'll have you know Veronica says you ruin everything. Anyway, continue.
I think she typed your name wrong.
Anyway.
Well, we could do paranormal stuff if you want.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's fine.
No, I was actually going to say Henry too, because Michael Rooker's great in that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so dingy and grimy. Okay, Jim, you go ahead. I'll think of something.
It's Fire in the Sky. 100%. I don't care what you think. It's 100% my favorite.
Yeah, that abduction scene still goes hard.
Doesn't it?
Jim, did you know I met D.B. Sweeney and had him sign
I did not.
Fire in the Sky poster for me?
Did not know that.
Okay, so if we're going with what Jim's talking about, Godzilla.
How is that based on a true story?
It's about the same basis that you have.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
There's not one person in the Godzilla franchise that claims that is a true story. So try again.
Have you talked to every single person in the Godzilla universe?
Have you ever seen it say based on a true story?
So you think everything that says based on a true story at the start is based on a true story?
No, I believe it claims to be.
So it claims to be. So is it or isn't it?
I don't know. I haven't looked into proving it.
Return of the Living Dead starts out with based on a true story. Is that true?
Is it? I don't know. Have
Exactly.
you done your research?
No, you're the one questioning me.
I'm not questioning you. You're questioning me.
No, so you know, you have to kind of go with probably like a serial killer or like I said, like an Open Water.
Yeah.
I might actually go with Open Water, even though it's the only basis is that a couple were left behind in the water.
Yep.
And then the rest of it's made up.
Right. But the one thing the first Open Water did was it created that sense of constant dread, and it was fantastic. After that, they're all garbage.
Oh, the second one was terrible.
And the third one, where they can't climb back onto the boat, that's awful.
No, that's the second one.
Oh, is that the second one? I don't know.
Yeah, and they have to have this baby crying on the boat just to add the.
So here's my next question for you guys. What is your favorite sequel?
And
he's thinking.
I'm thinking, yeah.
So I think I've talked about this before, like especially when we're talking about like major series. It seems to me I prefer the sequel or a later sequel over the original most of the time. So I would say Aliens, Hellraiser 2, um, Evil Dead 2. You know, there's so many that for whatever reason, I think if you can do a sequel well, it just builds on the original, and there's usually more action and more stuff going on.
Fair enough. So Veronica says the human centipede or centipede.
Yes.
Oh my god, I can't even talk. The human centipede
Human
2.
Centipede.
That'd be a
Yeah,
totally different
yes.
movie. That's a whole different genre.
Yeah.
And Jeff said Hellraiser 3, which is weird because that movie's terrible. And the guy shoots discs out of his face. That's just awful.
It's fun though.
It's where you know they tried to make Hellraiser go on Hollywood.
Yeah.
The good thing about it is Doug Bradley gets a lot more to do,
He does.
but the downside is it's this flashy, doesn't make a lot of sense movie. It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, but that's also the part where he starts the point where he starts to turn into a moral judge, right? Where he starts what?
No,
I disagree.
no, that's part 5 when that starts to happen.
If you say so, we'll disagree for right now.
Okay, so tell me in part 3 how it becomes a moral.
No, the reason I said we'll agree to disagree is because I need to revisit it. I haven't seen part 3 in probably 10 years.
But you just made a statement.
No, because that's how I feel. I could be mistaken.
No, so we're just going by your feelings, not the facts.
This is subjective, so yes, we are.
But you have nothing to back it up with.
At the moment, no, and I admit that.
No, okay. Godzilla was a documentary. I just feel like that.
Shut up, you dick. So anyway, Ian, back to the topic at hand.
Yeah. So I've got 2. I would say Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Okay.
And The Devil's Rejects.
Well, we don't know that movie got me banned from TikTok, just so you know. For 3 days, I could not post because I talked about a specific scene in that movie where I checked out. Anyway, Mark.
Yes.
Your favorite sequel?
Well, I just talked to you about it.
5 of them. Give me 1. And I had one picked out, and it's just gone.
I talked about Wreck 2, and I'm just going to go with Hellraiser 2. I think it's the best in the series.
I can see that. I
just love the direction that it took.
That's because you wanted to be Dr. Chenard.
Why?
Just your vibe. That's what you want to do.
What you think a big penis like the drill going into my head is what I want, Jim?
Yeah, I think so.
The projection. Okay.
Anyway, Mark, what do you got? What's next?
Favorite Stephen King adaptation.
Ooh.
Pet Sematary.
Which one?
Okay, that's good.
Oh, original.
He said Pet. Oh, does anybody count the sequels?
No.
I don't think so. I'm getting shit for the Devil's Rejects in the chat right now. Favorite? Oh God, that's so. Cycle of the Werewolf, or Silver Bullet.
I really love Storm of the Century.
That's not an adaptation. That was an original work for a miniseries. So try again.
Who wrote it, Jim?
The book came out after the movie.
Who wrote it, Jim?
Doesn't matter. It's not an adaptation. He wrote it directly for a movie, and then he released a book. So try again.
Jim, who wrote the script?
Mark?
Wait,
you,
Mark?
No. We're gonna get pedantic. You asked for a Stephen King adaptation.
Hang on. An adaptation is something, a movie based on a written work, correct?
Correct.
So who wrote the original script?
Stephen King. Who's debating that? What I'm saying is it's not an adaptation if he wrote a script and not a book. The book came out 2 years after the movie.
Sorry, can you just sort this out? Because I'm pretty sure, Jim, if you watch this back, you just said an adaptation was a movie based on a written thing, right?
Yes.
So was the script, what was the script written?
No. By your logic right now,
yes?
Everything that's ever been written is an adaptation because there was a script. That's stupid.
When did I say that, Jim?
You just did. You just called Storm of the Century an adaptation because it's
Correct.
based on a script.
Correct.
Every movie's based on a script. Try again.
Based on a script by whom?
Doesn't matter.
But
An adaptation is not based on a script.
my question was
That's
about
just a movie.
My question was about Stephen King's
You said Stephen King
literary
adaptation.
works.
You said an adaptation. This is not an adaptation. It's a script he wrote for an original movie.
So
an adaptation would be based off of a previous work. So try again.
So was the movie first, and then he wrote the
and then a book. Yes.
Okay. Jim, Ian, I'm real sorry about Jim.
I'm not wrong though. The book was released after the movie.
Ian, what is your thoughts on this? I'm just interested.
I'm just taking it all in.
I don't mean to put you in like the bickering parents and we're seeing the child.
But that's exactly what you're doing. I don't mean to, but I'm going to put you in this place anyway.
I'm just spectating. I'm taking it all in. It's entertaining.
You were probably warned about this, right?
No,
he was.
No,
I don't doubt it.
My goal is for Jim to hang up his headphones for 10 or 15 minutes in this podcast.
I'm not going to hang up my headphones, Mark, because I know I'm right on this.
What does the chat say, Jim?
Veronica says we're with you, Ian. They're going to sit this one out. Yep.
Nobody wants to stand up
says,
to Jim.
Mark, you're sounding like Jim.
Oh, okay. Well, I completely retract everything that I said. I am extremely apologetic because that is like the worst thing.
Actually, he just says you're sounding like ... I'm just inferring that he meant me. But anyway, continue, Mark.
Favorite John Carpenter movie? Not The Thing, something else.
Prince of Darkness.
I'm not Halloween, Ian, because I know you said that.
Yeah. I would probably say Prince of Darkness as well. So let me think of a different one here for a second.
I mean, I could go with Big Trouble in Little China. I love that one too.
Yeah, it's another good one. I'll go Christine.
There you go. That's a good one.
Aaron, you're familiar with.
By the way, Mark, in case you didn't know, Christine is a Stephen King adaptation.
Well, thank you, Guru of Horror. So Ian, have you heard about Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy?
Oh, here we go. I swear to God, he's just bringing up.
Shut up, Jim.
Have I heard about it?
Yeah,
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's The Thing.
Yeah.
It's a Darkness, and In the Mouth of Madness.
Right.
And I think as a trilogy, that's hard to beat.
I agree. Actually, I forgot all about In the Mouth of Madness. That would probably be my number one pick, honestly.
It's not a trilogy.
Okay, moving along.
Just because John Carpenter says it's a trilogy doesn't make it a trilogy. There are no related elements in those three films, Mark, and I will die on that hill.
I hope you do.
Anyway, continue, Mark.
I don't know. I can't think of any other subgenres right now. Ian, is there any like just movies you want to talk about? Maybe ones that you don't hear a lot of people talking about, but you love, and you're like, hey, people should check this one out.
I have some.
I'm asking Ian, not you. Shut up.
No, I'm gonna let you continue, Mark. I'm just saying I have a list of other genres that we're gonna discuss. So continue.
Oh yeah, no, go ahead, Jim.
Hang on a minute. Let me pull up my little list here. So we have cosmic horror. What is your favorite cosmic horror there, Ian?
Oh wow. From Beyond. Fair
enough. Mark?
I agree. I think From Beyond is even better than Reanimator. And I think as far as, whenever you say cosmic, you're talking about Lovecraftian. Mm-hmm. I also love Necronomicon. Ian, have you seen that, the anthology?
I have not.
You should look it up. Jeffrey Combs is in it as the wraparound story, and he's playing H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I need to check that out.
I think it's on YouTube. I don't think it ever got like a really good release after like maybe early days of VHS. But yeah, Necronomicon. Jim?
Oh, cosmic. I was like, wait a minute, I forgot. I forgot what subgenre we were in. That's rough
You're the
for
one who
me.
brought it up, by the way.
I know. That's why I was looking up some other things. I don't really
Oh,
like.
thanks for giving us your full attention.
I
Sorry.
do, I don't like cosmic horror in
No,
general.
no. What are you? So name some cosmic horrors you have seen, Jim.
Well, you're saying it's going to go Lovecraftian, so we can start with underwater because that becomes Lovecraftian at the end, right? Dagon, obviously.
Mhm.
You could almost say that well, okay, I mean that's I don't consider it cosmic. It's Lovecraftian probably with a cure for wellness. Can probably fit into that genre, but I don't consider it cosmic. But I do love the film, even though Mia Goth's in it. But I'm not really a fan of cosmic horror. I didn't like The Void. I didn't like oh god, what was that other movie that we had to watch about the glory hole? Um
Glorious.
yeah, I didn't care for that one either.
I love
Um
that movie.
I know a lot of people did, but it just I didn't think it was that great. Which is weird because I love the main actor, Ryan, I'll never pronounce his name right. I think he's great.
Hmm.
So maybe the best non-Lovecraft, Lovecraftian-esque, is in the Mouth of Madness.
Okay, fair. That's
But you know,
definitely
From Beyond to me is even better. I love From Beyond.
that's
It's
fair.
funny, it's crazy.
Hmm.
Here we go. What is your favorite tiny creature horror movie?
Tiny creature.
Or tiny monster, or what tiny doll, whatever.
Chucky. Child's Play.
Okay. Mark,
Phase 4.
fair enough. I'm gonna go with The Gate.
So what do you think
Nice.
about Phase 4, Jim?
I've never seen it.
What's it about?
I have no idea. I just said I've never seen it.
I know you said okay. Wow.
I was just acknowledging your choice.
You have a very curious mind.
Who's your favorite final girl, Ian?
Aaron from Your Next.
Fair enough. Mark?
Kirsty from Hellraiser.
Fair enough. I'll always go with Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street. She will always be my favorite. She's the only one to be in 3 movies in a franchise that I can remember off the top of my head.
Kirsty's in
Yeah, I keep forgetting about Hellseeker. I always do,
4.
but I love that one.
No, she's in 4 of them.
So
She's
1,
in
2.
1, 2, 3.
Is she in 3? I don't remember.
Yes, because what's her face goes.
Other than a flashback.
No, it's not a flashback.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. Because, like I said, I haven't seen Hellraiser.
No,
Hellraiser 3.
Kirsty's being institutionalized, and she's watching her like on a VHS tape.
Okay. Well, that's fair. Okay, so let's
Oh, it's not fair. It's right. I mean,
madness or paranoia.
both. Oh, is this about movies,
Yes.
Ian?
What was the question? I missed it.
Your favorite movie about madness or paranoia?
Oh, does Mandy count? Pretty mad.
I don't know. I've never seen it, so I can't say yes or no.
Mandy.
Fair enough.
Jim,
Mark?
now you go.
So I would so this one's a little rough, but I have to go with Darling from 2015. That is the best descent into madness flick I think I've seen in a very long time.
I'm going to go with Brain Damage.
I've not seen it, so okay.
Frank Henenlotter classic.
I,
You seen it?
you know what else I was thinking was another good one that probably would fit in this category is May. That was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
With Angela Bettis.
Yep.
I mean, you could say like The Shining. You could say,
Yep.
you could say a lot of.
I mean, you could, but isn't that really a paranormal influence, though? He didn't really just go.
It doesn't matter. You could say The Descent.
No, you couldn't say The Descent is paranoia because they're really being hunted.
Well, what is the title The Descent? It has 2 meanings in that movie.
It's about climbing down into something, which they're doing. They're caving.
And what's the other meaning of The Descent?
A devolution?
Aren't you going to college or something soon? I don't know. I mean, it's remedial. Descent into madness.
Yes, Mark. That's a devolution into madness.
She
Yes.
has a descent into madness.
But that movie is a physical descent because they're cave diving.
No, not at the end. She goes into a mental State of Madness.
She does. You're right. Well,
Yes, yes,
in the UK
yes.
version,
No, we don't talk
not
about
in
the
the US
stupid
version.
American bullshit.
In the American version, she gets out. Okay. What is your favorite Western horror?
Bone Tomahawk.
Okay, I need somebody to explain to me that movie because I thought that movie was boring.
I mean, it's
What
another
if
one that's
you
like
can
2.5 hours.
explain? Sorry, Ian, go ahead.
Oh,
What'd you
you're-
say, Ian?
I was just saying it's another one that's like 2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's mostly a Western, but then it becomes a horror movie kind of out of nowhere, and it goes fucking
I mean,
hard.
there's one horror scene in that whole movie.
I, I don't think it's that long, is it?
It's a long movie.
No, I
It
think
felt long.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Tomahawk. 2 hours, 13 minutes.
It felt like 3.
So I would also say Bone Tomahawk. I think it's a fantastic movie. It is a slow burn, and it is one of these movies where it has a twist in it. But it's so well shot, so well acted, and that twist at the end, you're like, holy shit, crazy.
I have
but
nothing for this category.
but something else, the Burrowers.
Mhm.
No.
The Burrowers is pretty awesome.
Is that based on the Brian Lumley book?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
And there's other ones that are Western-ish.
He only
Mhm.
knows this because he's looking it up.
The only other one that comes to mind is Dead Birds.
Yep.
I don't know that one.
That's a good
Oh
one.
no, I do know that one. That's with the people. Yeah. It's got the one with it's got that shot with the people under the bed, with the thing under the bed.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, Jim, can you give us 5 more Western horror movies?
No, I just said I have nothing for this category, Mark.
I thought you were throwing shade at me.
No, I said I have nothing for this category. Those were my exact words.
Right, but you were throwing shade.
So anyway, let's move on. Black
Yep.
magic or witchcraft.
I gotta think for a minute.
So I will say for a recent one, which is a recent classic, is Hereditary. If I was going to talk about like an older movie,
Yeah.
The Devil Rides Out, I think is quintessential black magic, satanic horror movie classic.
I'm gonna go with the movie that is just one that I enjoy the most, not the best movie in this genre, and that is Spellcaster with Kelly, what's her name? John Travolta's wife.
Preston.
Yes. That movie's awful. It's so laughable. That's why I love the movie, because I can just laugh at the whole thing. Like they know she's a witch because she pulls an uncooked turkey out of an oven.
Jim, I think we're getting to know, like, there's many genres of horror movie,
Mhm.
and a lot of your favorites are just shit ones that you've seen, and you can't think of any ones that are actually legitimately
No,
good.
these are legitimately ones that I enjoy, Mark.
Okay.
Every single one of them.
So what's your best? So bad it's great.
So bad, it's great. It's gonna be
You just say like
100%.
you could just say like the last 5 movies you brought up.
No, Dead Alive is so bad it's great. That's my favorite.
Wrong.
No.
So bad it's great, Jim.
How are you going to tell me my opinion is wrong when you ask me about my favorite movie?
So if I ask you what is your favorite movie about space, and you say, oh, it's Clint Eastwood in The Unforgiven, you are fractally wrong.
No,
The way
Mark.
you look at it, you're just wrong.
Dead Alive is an Ozploitation movie made on a cheap budget. It was a fantastic film, but it was not a good film.
So why was it not good, in your
Because
opinion?
it's cheap.
So
It's
a cheap
gross,
movie.
right?
So hang on. So every cheap movie is bad,
Mm-mm.
but that's just what you said. Ian?
No, it's not. Mark's just
Uh,
trying to argue now, so let's move on.
I would say Night of Something Strange.
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
that's
Mhm.
that's I can get behind that. So your favorite road trip horror?
Hmm, that's a good one.
Oh, I've
Uh,
got a
so the
simple
first
I
one that
already
comes to
know.
mind, the first one that comes to mind is Joyride. I don't think it's my favorite though.
Devil's Rejects. You brought that up earlier. That's a road trip horror.
Ugh,
I mean, Hostiles and Corpses could be.
could
They're on a
be
road trip. Yeah, we'll go with that one.
The Hitcher. C. Thomas Howell and Rutger Hauer.
Barely a road trip movie. Anyway,
How is
um,
it barely a road trip movie? He's going across country. What is your problem?
usually it's protagonists that are going to multiple locations driving.
Does he not stop at multiple locations, Mark?
The protagonist,
Yes.
multiple, like
Yes.
all over different
That's what I
places.
just said. Multiple. Yes.
Is multiple like two.
How many stops are in that movie, Mark?
Anyway, Phantasm 2, I think, is a wonderful road trip horror movie.
It's garbage. That is a garbage choice, sir.
Explain why you don't like it.
I'm just because I right now I'm annoyed with you. That's why. So let's go on to religious horror.
Hang on, whoa. What is it? What is the live comment saying?
What are the live comments saying right now?
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, so Jeff. Okay, so Jeff made a comment about the Final Girls. Lori said her favorite movie is Lake Placid. She was talking about creature features. Western horror. They're saying Westworld was their favorite.
That's not horror.
It could be.
It's sci-fi. Like if you're talking about the Yul Brynner,
They are talking about the Yul Brynner one.
yeah. I mean, there's
And
horror.
Veronica just said, Mark.
Veronica.
And Jeff said, yes, Westworld is horror.
Oh well, Jeff's spoken.
He has
I mean,
spoken.
we know how correct he is all the time.
So anyway, what were we talking about now? Religious horror. Religious horror. What do you got, Mark?
So I don't want to go with The Exorcist. Immaculate was pretty good recently. Exorcist 3.
Okay.
With the great George C. Scott.
Yep. Ian?
That's a tough one too. I would obviously go Exorcist, but that aside, I'm gonna say The Devil's Reign.
Oh, William Shatner.
Mhm.
And Ernest Borgnine.
Yep.
I have to go with Stigmata.
Yeah, it was okay.
I love that movie.
I really have to rewatch that. I like the overall message in it.
It's going to be either that or The Seventh Sign with Demi Moore. Okay. Set in a small town. Ooh. I don't know if this one qualifies, but I'm going to try it anyway.
What do you got?
Mark will argue with me no matter what I say.
He's going to say like Jason Takes Manhattan or something.
No, I'm not. And everybody's agreeing with me that Stigmata is a great choice, by the way.
Yeah, I have to rewatch it. I really like it. It's a shortcut too.
Veronica's had too many gummies. She can't think fast enough. Jeff said Dead and Buried.
I was just about to say that. Another Dan O'Bannon classic.
I want to go with Motel Hell, but I don't remember if that is a small town, if that takes place in a small town.
You could say like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, essentially you could.
Dagon, since you brought it up recently.
I haven't seen that movie in decades.
I almost feel like if we're talking about like a small town, that people have to go around the town a little bit. The Wicker Man.
Children of the Corn.
I'm gonna go with Feast.
Oh, Feast is fucking phenomenal. I love that movie. Veronica says The Crazies. I hated that movie, both versions.
No, the remake's awesome. The original is
Not.
okay. It's a bit slow.
No, I disagree. What is your favorite winter horror, Ian?
Winter horror. Ooh.
The Thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the thing. I'm gonna say the Lodge.
I just
Hmm,
watched that recently. I was not a fan.
Fair enough.
of course it will.
Mark,
I'm gonna go with Gremlins.
that's fair enough. I am going to go with a more recent film. There's Something in the Barn. That was so much fun. That movie was great.
Well, another good one is Wind Chill. We've seen Wind
Mhm.
Chill.
Oh, that's with Emily Blunt, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
And obviously, the adaptation of Storm of the Century.
Nothing.
Ian, are you having fun in this
Oh,
podcast?
I am.
So let's go with folklore,
So, like folk horror.
like folk horror, right? Yeah.
The Ritual, I'd say.
Yep.
It's a fantastic watch for sure, but it's not what I'm going with.
Ian, have you seen the documentary on Shudder about folk horror?
I
I don't know
believe
if
I
you
have, yeah.
It's really, really good.
Mark's just buying time because he has no choice.
Sorry, what?
You don't have a pick, so you're just buying time.
No, it's the Wicker Man. It's the OG.
I'm gonna go with Seder. There's no conversation for almost no conversation for the first 45 minutes, but it's phenomenal.
Jim, I thought you didn't like movies where people didn't talk.
No, I don't like movies that have no point when people don't talk.
Can you name me a movie where there's no point when no people talk and you didn't like it?
Yeah, no one's here to save you or whatever that garbage was on Hulu.
So you watched that movie?
I did.
You said you weren't going to watch it because
I
nobody.
wasn't, but I came home and Ray had it on. What's a
Liar.
horror set in a school?
Set in a school.
Yeah,
The Faculty.
that's genius. I love that movie. Mark?
I was going to go with The Faculty, but let me think about it, or give us your answer. I'll think about it.
Oh yeah, Veronica says The Faculty also. My favorite
I mean,
horror movie set in a
you could say,
school.
you could say like a lot of slashers, right? I mean,
I
like
mean, you could.
Scream.
Detention was good. I think that was the name of it, Detention, right?
Oh, I've got another one.
What's that?
Class in Newcomb High.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
that's fantastic. Cutting Class. That's a good one. With Jill Scholien. Yeah, 2011 Detention.
Children of the Corn.
That doesn't take place in a school.
There's
There's
a lot
one
of,
scene in a school.
in which the original or the remake.
Talking about the original.
So not the John Carpenter. Okay, let's go ahead. What did I say? Children of the Corn? No, I didn't say that, did I?
Yeah, that is exactly what you said. And you called it a John Carpenter film.
No. I meant Village of the Damned.
But Village of the Damned doesn't take place in a school. Well, I guess kind of.
Well, there is a number.
Yeah, it can toe that line.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed to admit that in the remake, I cried when Kirstie Alley killed herself. Not ashamed to admit that.
Did I ever tell you, Jim,
No.
that we went to a Kirstie Alley estate sale?
Yes,
recently?
you did. Your wife bought something.
Yeah, she bought some of her clothes and some of her glasses, and I'm like, that's a little creepy, isn't it? And she's like, no. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's creepy as shit. Favorite film from the 90s. What do we got?
I'm going to think one that we haven't mentioned yet.
I know, right? We're all going to Google.
Oh, I know, because there's some absolute
There
banger.
really are. Oh yeah, okay. I already know my favorite. I
Is
mean,
it
there's
is it
there's so
Phantom?
many, but I'm gonna go with the one that really bothered me the most. That really got to me the most.
Phantoms?
Fuck Phantoms. That movie was dog shit. I'm gonna go with Flatliners.
Mhm.
That movie was so disturbing. I mean, I guess I could go with Frankenhooker too because that movie scarred me for life. But that dream sequence really fucked me up when I saw it at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh man,
Mark,
I'm still thinking.
I'm going to go with. So I was
they
close.
have Ghost on this list from 1990s horror. Oh, Jeff, you are so wrong. So Jeff said for schools, it's The Spell
Never seen it.
or The Initiation of Sarah or Satan's School for Girls.
Hmm.
I've seen The Initiation of Sarah. That one was just okay. Lori
So
said her favorite from the 90s is Silence of the Lambs. And Jeff said Flatliners stinks. Jeff,
oh
you're wrong,
oh
and that's
well,
okay.
hang on. We have Jim and Jeff having a little spat here.
Yeah.
Trouble in Paradise.
No, not Trouble in Paradise. We
Wow.
just disagree on a film. There's a
You better
difference.
play some makeup. For me in the 90s, I would go with Blair Witch Project. But I'm going to go with Ringu.
Okay.
Mm.
And I will be back, so
Okay.
live stream, you have to deal with Jim for a while. Sorry.
Yep, for a little while. Anyway, so Ian, what do you got?
I'm gonna say because my initial answer would be Nightbreed, but I'm gonna say Lord of Illusions.
Okay, that's fair. So Mark just mentioned something that reminded me of what I was going to pick for my favorite sequel.
Hmm.
Blair Witch Book of Shadows 2.
I need to rewatch that. I haven't watched it in a long time.
I'm not gonna lie, but the thing that got me the most was it when in the 90s when or whenever it came out, on this flip side of the DVD
Hmm.
was the soundtrack, and the soundtrack fucking rocks.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So but even still, I like the fact that it was an actual movie and not a found footage because I'm not a big fan of found footage.
that's fair.
So we were talking about folk horror, and one of my I don't know if this is considered folk horror, but I guess it would kind of Kiyako versus Sudoku or Sadako or whatever the hell her name is. It's The Ring
Mhm.
versus The Grudge. That
Yeah,
movie's phenomenal.
I still have yet to see it.
It's so funny. Oh my god, I died laughing the whole time. It's freaking great. Let's see what else. Oh well, I mean this one's easy, but bugs or insects.
um, not going with the fly because that's the most obvious. I'm gonna say Mosquito Man because I just fucking watched it.
I absolutely love the movie Bug with Ashley Judd, but that
Oh
sort of gets
yeah,
into
with
paranoia, right? Because
Michael Shannon. Yeah.
yeah, but I think it's fantastic, and that's the one I'm going with, and I don't care what anybody says. And I don't know what Mark's doing, so let's move on to Kaiju. What is your favorite big monster movie?
Ooh. Um, I mean it's not really a horror movie, but it'd be Pacific Rim.
Which one? Pacific Rim,
Pacific
really?
Rim, yeah.
That movie got so panned. I didn't care for it. But
Yeah, I don't
it's not
I saw it
horror.
in theaters when it came out and I was just I don't know. I loved it.
I would probably have to go with Colossal with Anne Hathaway. That
Okay,
movie is
yeah.
so much fun.
Yeah.
I love that stupid movie. I don't care what everybody says. I
Yeah.
freaking love it. It's great.
No, if I was going the horror route, I guess I would go Cloverfield, even though I hate that it's found footage. Like
Yeah.
I love everything about that movie except that it's found footage.
So did you prefer 10 Cloverfield Lane then?
I did. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, that was
But
solid.
I would love to see Cloverfield as like a normal movie because I
Right.
loved everything about it.
Yeah, I was disappointed with like that's one of the found footage movies that I really like. And I loved that they originally talked about having all of the same events, but filming from a different person's perspective. Like I
Hmm.
thought that would have been a really nice way to continue the story, but
Right.
they never did it. I was very disappointed. Let's see, what else do we got here? Oh, we haven't done werewolf yet. Let's talk werewolves.
Wolf Cop.
Fair. Mine's gonna be Big Bad Wolf with
Hell
Kimberly
yeah.
J. Brown. That werewolf dong scene is hysterical. I died so I laughed so hard. We did Possession. Seasonal. Favorite seasonal horror film.
Trick or Treat.
Fair enough. Nobody cares about Mark. So, Mark, what's your favorite seasonal horror?
What's your least favorite, Jim?
My least favorite seasonal horror would
Yeah.
probably be Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Okay, so Silent Night, Deadly Night is my favorite.
My favorite seasonal horror is Krampus. That is probably worked its way up to my number one season.
Actually, Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 is super fantastic.
Santa
Garbage
Slay is really
Day.
good too.
Yeah.
I love that one. Ian, how do you feel about Santa Slay?
Love it.
It's been a while, but yeah, I mean, Bill
Mark,
Goldberg.
nobody asked you.
You can't go wrong with Goldberg as Santa.
That's true, and that opening scene is probably rivals Ghost Ship for me.
Jim, name the 4 cameos.
I'm still only ever going to remember Fran Drescher and James Caan.
Chris Kattan.
Yeah, man,
And Rebecca Grayheart.
Gay Heart.
Gayheart.
Her name. She lives in Vero, you know.
Excuse me. Stop forcing your weirdness on me. Okay, moving along.
Moving along. Let's go to let's see, romance horror.
Necromantic.
Such a garbage film. Who is Chris with a kid? Was Chris a cameo then? Yes, he died in the beginning of the film, Jeff. What about you, Ian?
I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I'm
I
blanking
don't
on this
have
one.
any, and the only one that comes to mind is because I just watched this last week is The Love Witch, and I hated it. Like visually, it's great, but the movie's terrible.
I'm going to say Cemetery Man. The Italian.
So Jeff said not The Love Witch.
Actually, Return of the Living Dead 3.
Oh,
that's
that's
a
a good one.
romance film.
Mm-hmm.
Could be, yeah.
I mean, at that point, then you can go with Hellraiser 6 Hellseeker, right? Which also falls into the revenge genre.
Is that like Long Legs, Jim?
What?
Is it like Long Legs?
What's that? Never heard of it.
It's this new movie. Don't worry, I'll talk about it at length.
Okay, so let's move into, we already did extreme, apocalyptic.
Oh, well, that's the Apocalypse trilogy right there for you, Jim. Pick any one of those trilogy movies.
I'm ignoring you now, Mark. What about you, Ian?
Shit. I want to say Cabin in the Woods just because of the ending.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm sorry, but I cannot stand that ending.
Why?
And-
You love bleak
No,
endings.
no, because like the characters are so fucking stupid. They're going to die, right? If
Yep.
they don't sacrifice him, but they're also going to take the rest of the world with them. Fuck
Yep.
you.
Why?
Fuck you.
Not everybody is going to be selfless, Mark. That's the point.
Yes, that's why I don't like it.
Okay. I'm gonna go with
Not
the hidden
everyone's
from
like you,
2015.
Jim, that would love to doom the world.
That's lots of people have the attitude if I can't have it, nobody's going to have it.
No. I'm talking about you.
What about me?
You would make that decision too, wouldn't you?
I don't know. I'd love to say I'd be selfless, but I'm not. I'm going to be honest. I don't know.
But you're going to die anyway.
Exactly.
Asshole. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm going with The Hidden from 2015. If you haven't seen it, it's a gem. Why are you rolling your eyes?
No, I haven't heard of it. The Hidden?
So yeah, it's Alexander Skarsgård. Him and his family are in a bunker, and they're being hunted at the end of the world.
Is that does that have Michael Biehn in it?
You know what? It might. Let me look it up real quick. No.
No, I what is that one? I know what you're talking
Because
about,
he's in a
Mark.
bunker and
Yeah. I forget what it's called. I can see the poster, but I can't think of the title.
Yeah, no, this is Alexander Skarsgård with pants on.
I guess another one, it's also a vampire flick, would be oh, I just lost the title of it.
Stakeland.
Yes, thank you.
I'll say Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so let's move on to set in the workplace.
Falco
American-
experiment.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going with that.
What's the other one? Mayhem? Have you
Yep.
seen-
Steven,
Severance?
Severance was good.
American Psycho for the most. For
Yeah,
some.
I mean, tech.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
all around the workplace.
Yep.
Another good one's blood sucking bastards.
Oh, that I haven't seen that one yet. I'll have to look that one up. What about Mark? You weren't around, but we did Werewolf while you were gone,
American Werewolf London, obviously.
and neither one of us brought that one up. Neither one of us.
I'm sure.
Let's do. We did that one. Let's do Set in the Woods. Mark,
Evil Dead 2.
you're
Or-
boring. You're boring with your choices now because you keep picking.
Okay, I'll choose something different. The Burning.
Okay,
Ooh.
fair enough.
It's a good choice.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go Willow Creek.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
The Predator.
Yeah,
True.
fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, book adaptations.
Storm of the Century.
Fuck you, Mark.
Did you not know I was going to say
I
that?
did know you were going to say that.
Oh man. Trying to think of one that we haven't brought up yet. It's difficult.
Jeff, be quiet because Jeff just said Storm of the Century.
Yes.
No,
For once, myself and Jeff are in total alignment.
No.
I mean,
Nope.
I would say obviously, although we've said it for Jaws, where the book is better, or sorry, the movie is better than the book. But I can also say things like The Relic,
Yep.
Phantoms, which is awesome.
Does it have to be a book or can it be a short story?
Either one.
Midnight Meat Train.
Oh, that is fantastic. Yeah, that is fantastic. I would go with The Haunting, but I've already said that, so I'm gonna go with
Oh.
Jaws.
Legend of Hell House.
Fair.
is-
I'm okay with that. I don't remember if that's based on a book, but I'll give you.
Yes,
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Richard Matheson.
Is it?
Mhm.
Oh, then we could. Oh, what was that other movie, Mark? We talked about The Manitou.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
That was a good one. We did foreign. Let's go with Evil Families.
The Groves family. Oh, sorry. You mean fictional? not
Yes,
real.
fictional families. By the way, my mother's last name is not Groves.
I know she told me last night.
Somehow I doubt that.
I'm gonna say The Hills Run Red.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm trying to think of ones that are like not the usual Texas Chainsaw Massacre types. Um. People Under the Stairs.
That's a good one. I'm gonna go with Mother's Day.
Hell yeah.
The original or the remake?
The original. I do love Rebecca De Mornay, don't get me wrong, but the original is better.
Mom and Dad.
Veronica said Low Lifes, and I'm the only person I know that did not like that film.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Jeff said The Parents and The People Under the Stairs.
Mom and Dad.
Jeff also said Mary Poppins.
Storm of the Century. Long Legs. Jim.
You're getting tired, Mark.
Tired
Just
of-
say.
Tired of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's move on to the next one. Let's go with early 2000s.
So that's kind of like what, like Final Fantasy or Final
Final
Destination.
Fantasy? No.
Final Destination.
Uh-huh.
Like 2000.
Ooh, I forgot about that movie. Mm.
Long Legs.
For 2000s, I'm gonna go with Behind the Mask.
That's fair. That's fair.
Great movie.
I forgot about P2, which I surprisingly enjoyed, but that's not my pick. I also didn't. I thought that The Strangers came out a little bit later than it did, but we all know my feelings about that. Well, Ian, you might not. I think that the final jump scare in that movie cheapens the entire film. Up until that point, I thought it was a perfect film.
That's fair.
Um, but for the early 2000s, I'm gonna have to go with High Tension.
So what's the cutoff? Like before 2005?
I would say before 2010.
Oh, Martyrs.
We already
But
talked about that one.
but I also say Dog Soldiers.
Dog Soldiers is great.
Inside. Um, Eden Lake.
Eden Lake. Oh my God, that was such a surprise.
The Dawn of the Dead remake.
Okay.
Hostel. Slither, which was a good
Mark,
kind
I
of
asked you to pick your favorite. So pick one.
Long Legs.
That doesn't count. That's 2024. You said
Martyrs, Jim.
2010.
Obviously, it's Martyrs.
Pick another one. You already picked Martyrs.
Inside.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So the people in our chat are talking about The Haunting of Hill House, which is a TV show and not because the oh well.
Was that early 2000?
The Haunting was 1999,
Yeah.
the remake. So I don't know if she's getting that one confused, but
Is this Veronica?
it is, yeah.
How many gummies has she taken?
I don't know. But then they brought up 13 Ghosts, which I put off for a long time because I thought I was going to hate it, but it turned out to be a solid film.
It's
Yeah,
good,
it's
but
fun.
it's not as good as the remake of House on Haunted Hill.
I'm looking for. Veronica said she's had too many gummies. By the way, she did respond. But okay, what else do we have here? We already did that. Set in a city or metropolis.
I mean, I want to say American Psycho, but
That's
it was
fair.
brought up before.
It was. That's okay. You can bring it up. You didn't bring it up. He did.
Fair enough.
Jim?
Mine is going to be Dark City.
Mine's going to be probably, I don't know if there's another topic or subtopic where it's just contained in like a big hotel or apartment building. Demons 2.
Hell yeah.
I got nothing for that because I've never seen it.
I'm shocked.
Let's see. What else do we have? Yeah. Favorite horror musical?
Repo.
Fair. I love it.
Jim, this is your special.
It is, and I'm torn between. I obviously would have said Repo if I had the opportunity, but since I don't, I'm going to go with Anna and the Apocalypse or Sweeney Todd.
And although I don't like musicals, and it is horror, Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, I mean, okay, it's kind of a cop out. Apparently, Reanimator has a stage musical. Did you know that, Mark?
Yes.
Evil Dead does also.
Mm-hmm.
Which I bought a copy of the Evil Dead musical. It's awful, except for there's one song by what is it? It's like No Name Demon or Lesser Known Demon or something like that, and it's hysterical. But other than that, the rest of it's garbage. Let's do your favorite horror involving robots.
I mean, shopping mall.
Of course.
This is Brad Dourif one. Death Machine.
I don't know that one. Huh.
Death Machine is awesome.
Fair enough. I love Brad Dourif. I just don't know that movie.
Oh, and this is Brad Dourif, Let Off the Leash.
Oh, that's great. He's
Oh, yeah.
he's the best when he's not on a leash.
It's directed by the guy that also did Blade 2, I think.
That's
Stephen
Del Toro.
Norrington.
I'm really surprised nobody said Terminator or Terminator 2.
They're not really hard to me.
Yeah, but Terminator 2 is a slasher.
I don't really.
I 100% believe that it's a slasher because
Oh, he did Blade. So anyway, no, I mean, okay, well, yeah.
but
Alien
I mean
is a slasher movie, but I wouldn't think it. I wouldn't.
Alien's not a slasher film, it's a creature feature.
No, no, it's the same. Okay, so the Terminator 2 is a robot feature.
Right.
It's not a horror.
I disagree. You don't think it's horrific that they're being hunted?
Is Saving Private Ryan a horror movie?
It
Jim?
could be considered because war is
No,
horrific.
no, I'm asking you. Not it could be considered. Is it a horror movie?
I don't care for the movie, so I don't
No, no, I
care
didn't ask
much.
whether you cared for it. I asked you your opinion. Is Saving Private Ryan
No, it's a war movie.
movie? Yes or no?
No, it's a war movie.
So there's nothing horrific about it.
I didn't say that. I don't consider it a horror movie.
Does horrific things happen in it?
Yes, it's a war movie. Of course, horrific things happen.
So what about um
Jeff says Forrest Gump is a horror movie. um,
well,
and
yeah, because it's Vietnam. Mhm.
Ex Machina, Terminator, and Jeff says Evil Dead sucked.
Which one, the original or
I don't know what he's talking about. I'm hoping he's referencing the musical that I mentioned. So, what is your favorite horror movie set in space?
Event Horizon.
Mark's going with Dark Side of the Moon.
Jim, what's yours?
um, I can't say Alien because I already brought that up once already. Beyond that, it would be Jason X. I love that
Solid.
movie. It's so over the top.
Same.
I'm gonna go with a little different one. Obviously, we've kind of covered a lot of them, but Sunshine. You've seen
What?
Sunshine?
Never heard of it. Okay, what is you? We did that one. We did that one. How many movies have we did that one? What we did? We did that. Your favorite remake, Mark?
I know I have a. I'm going to try and do like just a straight remake and not something that's kind of could be like a reboot or a reimagining or whatever. Favorite remake? I don't know. I have to think about it.
Okay, Ian.
I mean, I want to say The Thing or The Fly, but we've talked about both of those.
I was gonna go with The Fly.
I'm gonna say I'd also say Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but we talked about that. So I'm gonna say The Ring, the American
Okay.
remake.
I
fair.
hate The Ring.
Nobody
That's
asked you, Mark,
No, but do you know why?
because you're pretentious.
Yeah, because Jim, you like to speak for me. So do you want to explain why I don't like the remake?
No, I don't. You take it away.
Because Ian, I think it loses a lot of the mythos, right? The whole thing about Ringo is about where Sadako came from, the whole psychic thing, where that's all dropped in the remake. And it's just like, oh, this crazy kid over here is like psychic, and they don't try to explain any of it.
That's fair.
So, So Lori said that Pitch Black is her favorite horror movie set in space.
Oh, that's a good one.
Jeff says The Ring is a fantastic horror remake. He also said The Grudge, which that's what I'm going to go with because I thought the first Grudge with Sarah Michelle Gellar was fantastic.
Yeah,
I also like The Eye with Jessica Alba.
Yeah, I think that the Eye overall, I mean, the original and the remake are just okay. I don't think they're great movies, but I think The Grudge did a good job in the remake.
What is your favorite movie when animals attack?
Okay, so I'm obviously going to avoid Jaws in this one,
Yep.
but the next one is Alligator.
Okay. Which is a Jaws ripoff.
Well, a lot of animal attack ones are. I could also say Phase 4, Jim, but I've mentioned that, and I know you want to talk about it, so go ahead.
Man, I gotta think about it. I don't know. Is there a shark category by itself?
There is not, no.
Okay, then
Big sharks.
I'm gonna go with bait.
That's a great film. Santa Jaws is another great shark movie.
Have you seen The Reef?
Ghost Shark was great.
Have you seen The Reef?
Out of the toilet.
I'm trying to remember if I have seen the reef.
The
If I
Reef
did,
is,
if I have, it's been a while.
I personally am going to go with Crawl.
yeah, it was fun.
It was, and they're doing a sequel now.
Yep. Yeah, that was
So I'm
good. I
excited
like
to see
that.
what happens.
So I was
Jeff
in the
says Under Paris. So let's talk about that, Ian.
Oh,
Let's talk about that, shall we?
I just watched it today.
I know you did. I saw your video about it just before this podcast.
Yeah.
So Under
It's
Paris has
really
been
bad.
almost universally panned, right? Like my biggest issue with that is the amount of mental gymnastics these people go through to
Mhm.
stay in the water.
Yep.
And I hated it. Like with every part of my being, I hated it. So please explain to me what you actually enjoyed about it, because I really am curious. I'm not setting you up. I really want to hear.
Oh no, it's fine. First of all, I love just dumb, goofy movies.
Okay, fair enough.
So it wasn't the story that sold me. But I would no honestly, like after hearing everyone else's reviews, I was expecting like a bore fest because I heard that there weren't many sharks, that there wasn't blood and gore, like all that. So it was just like it did the same thing for me that like Piranha 3D did. Like it's not as good as that, I'll
Right.
say, but it was the same kind of mindset. Like it's just kind of stupid, dumb fun. I'm not there for the story. I'm there to see sharks fuck people up.
Fair
And
enough.
and then there was sharks in the catacombs. I was like, if there's not sharks in the catacombs, I'm gonna hate this movie. And there was sharks in the catacombs.
There you
So,
go.
it delivered on what I was expecting.
And Jeff agrees with you. He says it's a line 'em up and eat 'em up movie.
Yeah,
No, but
absolutely.
here's Ian, did you watch Infested?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Ugh.
I think both of them suffer the same problem. I love just fun, whatever, but if you have people trying to be like serious characters in a really dumb movie, it doesn't work for me. Like you have to have ridiculous characters in ridiculous movies, not people trying to be very sober and somber and try to make a point, and they're supposed to be taken seriously when they're obviously some of the dumbest people on this earth.
Yeah,
was
no, I get it. I get it. And I'm the same way too. There's a line and a lot of things cross it
Yeah.
into that. And for that one, it didn't. It got close to it, but it was fun.
And that's fair. And that's why Mark always gives me shit, because I love the Meg. Because it's just a dumb, fun movie, right?
No,
it's not a great movie. It's not fantastic cinema. It's just fun.
No, it's not.
It is.
My problem is it makes the worst cinematic mistake. Being boring.
It wasn't boring.
How the fuck can you make a boring movie about a megalodon? I don't know,
wasn't
but they made
boring.
it.
It was boring for I loved it.
It was just blah.
Ian,
be the deciding vote. What did you think of the Meg?
Honestly, I haven't watched it in a long time. I don't remember much about it. I know I wouldn't say it was boring. I'm not a fan of it, but I wouldn't say it was boring.
Right. And then
but I'm also like, if you like something, then I'm fucking stoked for you.
Yeah, I'm here for it. So that's not to say the movie doesn't have its problems, right? Because I'm a huge fan of the book series. And there's like 7 or 8 books in the series. And they make some unforgivable changes from the book, but I did not care because I went to see a dumb, stupid, fun shark movie. I didn't go to see something that adapted the book well. Unlike Misery, which pissed me off because of the way that she takes out the sheriff. I really loved the way it happened in the book, and it pissed me off in the movie.
Do you know what's a really good animal attack movie?
What?
Ticks.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Ian?
Yeah, that's a good time.
Same director as Hellraiser 2.
I just got told to leave misery alone.
Jim, you are misery. Anyway, moving along.
I know. Let me get my list back up. Hang on.
That's what she said.
We did that one. Psychological horror. First, let's define psychological horror. How would you define psychological horror, Mark?
You go ahead first, Jim.
No, I'm asking.
Psychological horror is less visceral and it's more about the mental torment.
Okay.
Whether that's being locked up and, you know, not necessarily being physically tortured, but just being mentally tortured. Or it could be, you could say like a movie like Smile is psychological because most of it is the ghost kind of, or the entity putting her through like Candyman to me is like a great psychological horror.
What about like Saw? Could you consider that to be partially psychological because you have to make that choice?
Well, partially. I mean, you could say almost every horror is psychological in that sense, but I think for a psychological horror, it has to lean into that a bit more. Like 1408, that's another good psychological.
That is a great movie.
So yeah.
What about you, Ian? How would you define a psychological horror?
I don't know. When I think psychologically, I think something mentally straining.
Okay.
On a character. So like my choice is Violet.
And I haven't seen that one yet.
Just came out this year.
Yeah. Mark?
Psychological horror. So that almost goes even into like for me, like Open Water, like Fall, like any of these situations where people find themselves in that I would hate to be in.
Right.
But there's no real antagonist other than maybe just what's around them. Like there's nobody trying to necessarily kill them.
Okay.
But it's just that situation which freaks me out.
Okay. So what would your pick be?
I'm going to say because it's more recent and I hate heights. I'll go with Fall for right now.
Okay.
But it's almost more like a psychological horror to me than even the characters, right? Because they're climbers and stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. This is rough for me. The only one that I can think of is and I don't know if this falls in the same thing because it can't be proven, right? So it's all would be something like The Fourth Kind. Did Mark freeze or is it just me?
Yeah, I think he's froze.
Okay. But like The Fourth Kind, right? You never really know if something's really happening or if she went crazy and killed her family.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll put that in there. Yeah, with a lot of them, like they could be like could be a alien movie, but it's also a psychological. Like it can fall into many different categories.
Right. So here's another one then that can fall into the same category is Pod. Have you seen Pod?
I don't think I have, actually.
So it's basically about this family that is trying to have an intervention for one of their family members. And it turns out that there's an alien pod in his basement. Meanwhile, the family thinks he's just nuts. It's super interesting. I loved it personally.
Yeah,
and now Mark's gone.
Yeah, we lost Mark.
It looks like Veronica took a screenshot. So that's great. Veronica, please send that to me. So let's see if we have another. We did that. We did monsters. What is your? I don't know. That's rough, especially nowadays, right? I wouldn't want to do that. Mazes. Let's go with mazes. Mazes or labyrinths.
Ooh, wow. I mean the two big ones are The Shining and Hellraiser 2.
Yeah,
But I'm gonna let me think. Um, maybe Escape Room.
that's fair. I, I got a few screenshots. So I'm trying to think. That's what I went with when we did this topic with Cinema Society Saturday was Escape Room. But like Pan's Labyrinth is probably one of my
Ooh.
favorites
Yeah, absolutely.
because and it's not even about the story. Like the story is very engaging, but visually that's probably one of the most stunning films I've seen in a very long time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that's one of the reasons, and everybody's going to make fun of me. Um, one of the reasons that I love Alien Resurrection
Hmm.
is regardless of what you think of the movie, visually it's a beautiful film.
Yeah.
The colors, the cinematography, and the scene where Ripley actually meets the alien queen for the first time. That's almost an erotic scene, the way
Hmm.
it's shot, and I thought
Yeah.
it was beautiful. I
Yeah.
don't care what anybody says.
I'm a fan of the first four Alien movies.
Yeah, I agree. I actually didn't even mind Prometheus, even though it was a little too much.
Hmm.
Covenant was straight trash.
Yeah. No, I like Prometheus. I like as a movie. I think it's
Hmm.
a terrible prequel,
Yeah, I
but
agree.
it's a good movie. But yeah, Covenant. I don't even want to talk about that.
Yeah, I agree because Covenant they took away everything that was scary about the xenomorphs, right?
Hmm.
The claustrophobia, the fact that they were just animals in space, that they were just animals being animals. They turned them into a science project for an android with daddy issues, and I fucking hated it.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole David plot was just garbage.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Jeff says he is now channeling Mark, so he'll be providing commentary through the chat.
There we go.
Let me see if Mark has texted me. Yeah, his internet went out. He's waiting for it to reboot, just so you
Fair enough.
know. Um, but so what are some of like we always everybody always talks about your favorite horror movies. What are some of your least favorite and why?
Um, it's usually something I don't really talk about because I try to be
I
the more
know.
more positive one
Right, because you're a
around.
hype
But
man and you
yeah,
talk
right.
about the things that you love. But let's
Um,
talk about what you don't like horror tropes and that kind of stuff. You don't necessarily have to name a movie, but what really takes you out of a film?
there's not much, honestly. I'm pretty easy to please. There's one recent movie from this year that I do not like, and I have no problem talking shit on it, and it's The First Omen.
Okay. What
Like
is it
it.
about that movie?
Don't hang on, don't spoil it though, please. I haven't seen it.
Oh yeah.
Shut up,
Okay.
Mark.
No, without spoiling it. It's a prequel
Yet.
that every good scene, with the exception of that scene that
Right.
everyone knows, every good scene is just ripped off of the original movie.
That is entirely true. I can see that point. Yeah.
So
It
it
it,
Do you find it better or worse than The Exorcist Believer? Seen it?
oh, it's so much better.
I think it's a better movie, but
Yeah.
as far as entertainment, I would rather watch The Exorcist.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, the first like I was bored. I was bored sitting like I've never had that reaction in a theater. Like
Wow.
I watch all different movies all the time here, so like I'm not saying it's the worst movie I've ever seen, but it's one of the worst I've ever seen in a theater because I
Mhm.
was bored,
Yep.
and then like I said with the complaint with the quote unquote exciting parts, and I don't know, it pissed me off
Yeah.
to be
I
quite honest.
That's fair because most of the scenes in that film pay homage to the original, right?
Mhm.
And I don't want to spoil it, Mark, but the biggest complaint that I've heard about that movie so far is the ending,
Mhm. Oh,
right? Like
absolutely.
people are really pissed off about it, but it's been done before in that same franchise,
Hmm.
and nobody ever talks about it.
There's a very thin line between homage and just like not coming up with anything new, right? And it's like, hey, let's just throw the people that already know the movie all these same things that they're familiar with and not really add too much to it.
Right.
So I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's how it came across to me. It felt like someone made a prequel to The Omen without ever actually watching The Omen. They just caught a highlight reel on YouTube, made this movie, and then wrapped it all up with a Avenger style ending.
Do you know what it did do successfully for me though? Is it butted right up against the original movie with that ending?
It just felt so shoehorned in though.
It did. I'm not disagreeing, but it's the first prequel that we've gotten that dead ends at the original?
Oh, here's a good question. What's your favorite movie that literally happens like the same day or the day after the original movie?
Halloween 2.
It's a good one.
Hmm. I have to think about it.
Yeah.
Honestly, another one that sticks out that's a prequel that does that. I'm not gonna say it's my favorite, but it gets a lot of hate, and I don't think it's quite justified. Is The Thing from 2011?
That's not a bad film. Like, I didn't hate it. I
Mhm.
wasn't, but I've never really been the biggest fan of The Thing. Like, it's just not my. I don't know why. I was about to say it's not
It's
my
not your
favorite, but it would
The
thing.
just be terrible.
The
Yeah,
Thing's not your
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
The
Pretty
thing
much.
is an absolute classic. I think the prequel, again, retrod over a lot of the same ground and didn't
Mhm.
really set itself apart. I think, I don't know, and if you've ever played the Thing video game.
I have, and I'm very excited for the remaster.
Right, right. Yeah, I know it's coming out this year,
Mhm.
but that did a better job of, I know it's a sequel rather than a prequel, but adding something new. The first one did really seem like it, they just couldn't come up with anything really other than the main scenes in Thing. Plus, they decided to get rid of a lot of the great spec. I don't know if you've seen the special effects, the
Mhm.
practical ones that they
Yeah,
had.
absolutely.
And then they decided, no, we're going to go with like, I mean, CGI is fine, but it's just not the same.
Oh no, and I mean that's my complaint with it, and the fact that they did everything practically, and then the studio went back in and threw that shitty CGI and
Yeah.
everything. Like I get that's why most people don't like it, and I understand that because without that, if it was all practical, I feel like a lot of people would
And
enjoy that movie.
right. And the thing is, it's well shot, it's well acted. It's just not original enough. But it's fine to watch. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
It's all
yeah.
right.
That's fair.
So one of the one of my biggest beefs with a remake is going to be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I hate the Jessica Biel version because just from when the hitchhiker unalives himself or kills themselves in the van,
Mhm.
her initial reaction, and then the camera turns around and comes back to her. It's like somebody slapped her across the face because all of a sudden she's shaking and crying. It's like somebody told her, "You have to learn how to fucking act," and just belted her. Like I hated that. That was oh,
You
I hated
hated
it.
that she looked shaken,
I hated that her reaction changed so much from one shot to another.
but wouldn't that naturally happen, Jim?
No,
So if you saw something terrible, would you not be shocked for a second and not react, and then start to react?
I would. However, that's not the step they take in that movie.
Okay, so what is the step that they take that stops?
Initially, she's crying and screaming, and then all of a sudden, her hands are in front of her face, and she literally looks like somebody slapped her across the face. Her entire body starts shaking. It's awful.
Ian,
I love that movie, so I don't know. I never noticed the difference between the two
Just watch
scenes.
that scene. You can see when the camera hits her the first time when it happens, and she's looking through the hole in the guy's head or the hitchhiker's head. I don't remember
Mhm.
if it's a guy or girl. And
It's a
then
girl.
when they pan and then go back to her, you can see an entire change in her being.
and Ian, just to let you know that Jim will take points off a movie because he doesn't like somebody's haircut. I'm not joking.
There's a reason that people call me
I,
pedantic.
I know it sounds absurd, but yeah. No, but I really like the remake. The newest one that came out on Netflix was fucking awful, though.
I loved that one.
I wasn't a fan at first of it. It's slowly growing on me.
Yeah.
I do enjoy the brutality, and
Yep.
I do like Leatherface.
Yep.
I still stand by the fact I hate Sally being in that.
I don't. I love the fact that she
But
did it. I love the Xing of legacy characters.
no. But she had a perfectly good chance to kill him, and just, oh, I'm not going to kill you yet. Fucking stupid, stupid ass. Oh, here's a big guy with a chainsaw on a bus. oh, look, we're Gen Z. We're going to film him and not like do anything else. Like, fuck off.
But
That's
then
the
you can
dumbest shit I've ever seen. And it's actually pretty. Jim, what is the live chat saying?
the live chat is saying that the newest Texas Chainsaw Massacre was crap, and everybody disagrees with me. But that's okay.
Oh, Jim's hurt.
No, no, not at all, not at all. I'm just trying to scroll through this crap, this whole chat.
You mean all the people that disagree with you? Not
Yeah, all
this.
three of our viewers, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Veronica loved the one with Jessica Biel, and I hated it,
Yeah.
obviously.
Well, mainly like the main character to me is Arlie Emery.
Oh
He
yeah.
is, just fantastic. He is fantastic. He really elevates that movie so much, and the gore is great. It doesn't have the same vibe as the original,
Yeah.
obviously, because that's very hard to replicate, especially in like a big budget kind of movie. But I dig the remake.
So, Ian, I have a question for you, regardless of this topic. But how do you feel about independent cinema?
I'm all about it.
Yeah,
I'm all
you
about
guys,
low
you
budget
guys
indies.
talked with the cast of Eight Eyes, right?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Okay, so that is a movie I definitely recommend you watching if you want that kind of vibe from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh
They
yeah.
do a really good job. And if I'm not mistaken, they mentioned that it was shot on 16 millimeter film. It was freaking amazing, I thought.
Yeah. I have seen the movie. It's
Have you,
fantastic. Yeah.
Mark?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have my initial thing to say it's like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No, I
I
said a
think
vibe.
I think again, it's got more like of a Hostel, The Shrine vibe than
The
Texas.
Shrine was garbage. Can we stop talking about that film?
Can you stop talking?
No. So I have a podcast.
Anyway, no, but obviously Eight Eyes I thought was really good. And you
It
didn't
was.
know what was coming next, and I thought acting and everything was great.
Yeah, it was definitely solid.
And that's not just because we interviewed the cast. Again, I always tell people I'll give them my
Wait,
unbiased opinion.
is that true? The Hitchhiker had a Jessica Biel version?
Well, it was a remake with Sean, not Pertwee, Sean Bean.
Yeah. Sean Bean.
Yep.
Oh, but he was garbage. I mean, I like Sean Bean generally, but in that movie, he was garbage.
I mean, I feel like there should be like a swear jar, but every time Jim says something's garbage, he has to put some money into it.
I mean, it was like the original. Rutger Hauer played the best controlled psychopath in that film. And the scene where Jennifer Jason Leigh gets ripped apart by the tractor trailers, they showed no gore at all. And it was so freaking intense. Like the camera work and how they kept you off kilter the entire film was utter perfection.
What would you rate it, Jim, out of 10?
That would be a 9, probably.
What?
Yeah.
What age were you when you saw it?
I don't remember.
Like probably like 9 or 10?
No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I was an adult when I first saw that.
You were an
But
adult?
I call crap because somebody said Jessica Biel was in that and she's not.
No, it's not Jessica Biel.
So Lori says that Mark and Jim are like Waldorf and Statler from the Muppets.
No, because I'm not just the one that says everything's garbage. I actually
And Jeff
like
said, "How
movies.
did we not see that?"
I actually like movies, unlike Jim.
I like movies. I like good movies, though. I do like some trash movies. Like 80s trash is my favorite. Ghoulies. I love the little puppet stuff, like Troll. I love those little plastic puppets that don't really move well. I think they're fantastic. Mark, how do you feel about puppets? That's a genre we didn't talk about. Let's talk about puppet horror.
Ian?
Shit. I gotta think.
Oh, just like
Puppet.
killer dolls, right?
Puppet, yeah.
No, puppets.
No, okay, so define it, Jim, if you're going to be so
A
fucking.
puppet has a person's hand up its ass, not a doll.
Well, we probably don't watch the same movies you do. So you're the
I don't judge.
I'm trying
shaming
to.
Ryan's privates.
I'm trying to think if I've ever watched a horror movie
I mean, we're
with
talking
puppets.
about magic. That's a puppet, right? You have Dead Silence because Billy's a
No,
puppet.
no, you're talking about ventriloquist dummies.
It's a puppet. It needs somebody's hand inside of it to control it.
Well, don't tell me about your life. Okay, so name another movie other than a certain one that we watched recently. That's not a ventriloquist movie. That's
The Happy Time Murders is pretty gory. Dave Made a Maze has some great puppet gore in it.
it feels like I don't want to kink shame you.
There is actually another movie. I have to look up the name of it. I cannot remember, but it is totally puppets. Hold on.
Is it called Jim Fucks the Muppets?
No.
Oh no, that's a documentary. Sorry,
but it's about a group of puppets that go to a summer camp and then get killed. And I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
Ian, I know you might be very familiar with this specific subgenre. So, do you have any?
I mean, I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying to think
of
like.
It's no help, right? Because it's all dolls.
Yeah.
Can we just do killer dolls, Jim, and get away from your?
No, I want to talk specifically about puppets. Then we can do killer dolls.
If we're talking ventriloquist puppets, then I would say Dead Silence. But I don't know, in like the traditional puppet fashion, I don't think I've ever seen a horror movie.
That's why I'm trying to look it up because there is one. It's a slasher and it takes place at a summer camp. Hold on, I have to find this now. God damn it.
Next up, Jim is going to say, "Hey, what's your favorite horror movie where somebody's dressed up as a mascot and goes around spanking people?"
What?
Oh, sorry. That was a spoiler for your next topic.
I have no idea what you just said, but I'm just going to ignore it as I usually do.
Your hearing goes as you get older.
I know. You should know. You're younger than I am.
Well, I am.
Older than I am. You're like 5 months older than me.
You're obviously distracted.
I am because I'm trying to find this movie and I can't remember the name of it. I might have to just message you about it later, Ian, because it is all puppets and it's a slasher and it's absolute garbage and I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, let me know. Let me know when you find it.
I will for sure.
And then Ian will just delete it immediately, like I would.
Mark, continue, please.
No, continue what?
I don't know. Continue the conversation so I can keep looking for my movie, please.
Let's all watch Jim look up the movie.
This is not exciting live streaming, so please continue the conversation.
So Ian.
Yep.
Again, I'll go back to, I think I asked you earlier, is there any like hidden treasures or movies you've seen which you feel people should watch that isn't talked about very much? Could be new, old, independent, whatever, foreign.
Yeah, I mean there's one that I've been championing for months now, since I first watched it. It's called Blood Gorge. It's 40 minutes, it's on YouTube. I talked to the director on my my old podcast, and it's just a throwback to 80 slashers. Like he made it for like $600. So it's super low budget, but it's just like it's gory fun. It's a gory fun time. So that's the one I always try to throw out there to let people know about.
Like a hatchet, right?
Yeah, I mean it's a slasher. It's not really like no like gnarly beast creature or anything, but yeah, it's just a fun little slasher.
Jim?
Busy. So apparently, and I didn't know this, but there's actually a musical called Live Freaky, Die Freaky, which is a puppet, a marionette version of the Manson murders.
Jim, do you think the Manson murders are funny?
No, I think this premise for a movie is funny. It is for rental on Amazon.
It sounds really familiar. I've never seen it, but
Not
Jim?
Tarantino.
Okay, we're bored with you looking up your
As
weird.
I said, keep the conversation going. I'm looking this up.
Okay, so I think we'll move on to Ian. Have you watched anything recently? It doesn't have to be horror, TV series, movies, games, anything you want to talk about?
I mainly only watch horror, so there's
Yeah,
not
me too.
anything not horror. Other than The Boys, that was the only thing I've
But
watched lately that isn't horror, quote unquote.
it, it,
Um,
it- it's kind of horror adjacent, though.
yeah, I mean it has
I
the blood and gore of horror, that's for sure.
know.
Yeah.
But now as far as like the last thing I watched, was what was the last thing I watched? Oh, Cuckoo.
Hmm.
What did you think? Because I'm really interested in seeing that movie.
No spoilers, please.
Yeah,
Again.
no, I don't. I always do no spoilers. So I love the first half of it, and then the second half lost me.
Did it?
Yeah, just like once you start discovering what exactly is going on, it felt very, I don't know, like I in my review I said it was very much like a episode of Agents of Shield.
Okay.
Like that's the vibe I got from it. Like great performances, looked great, um, and it was a great story up to a point. But I mean, other people are loving it, so hopefully you love it too.
I'm interested to see it. I'm not going to say I'm going to love it, but
Right.
there's another movie that I refuse to watch because of all the hype around it. So this might turn into one of those.
What was that?
Well, yeah, what movie is that?
Legs.
What is it?
Long Legs.
What's that about? What I've never
I have
heard
no
of it,
idea. I haven't watched it yet.
but you just brought it up
I said it's a movie I refuse to watch
because you've seen a lot
because of
of.
the hype. Yeah. It's all over TikTok
So,
everywhere.
so what is the hype like?
I'm not
Is
watching
this
it.
a movie? Sorry, is this a movie or is this something? Is it a
It's
TV?
a Nicolas Cage movie. Yes.
Interesting.
Mark.
So,
So what
Ian,
movies have you seen recently, Mark?
well, hang on. Ian, do you play video games or anything like that? Is there anything you've been playing recently?
I do. I mean, I am a fan of video games. I don't have much time for it. I have a 7-year-old daughter who is loving Fortnite, so I've been playing Fortnite. And that's about it. But but yeah, no, I do love video games. I love horror video games. I just don't have much time to get into them lately.
I get it. I get it. Jim,
Yeah.
what have you seen, watched, read, listened
So
to?
I told you about the clown murders, which was total garbage. John Candy should never have been in a horror movie.
Hang on, sorry, that's another garbage. So another
Yep,
coin in the jar.
absolutely. Let's see, what else have I watched recently? We watched Eight Eyes. I'm gonna watch Lore tomorrow because I've been dying to see that one. Um, I still have to watch Real too because I really actually loved the first movie. I know it's really slow in the beginning, but that last 20 minutes definitely made up for it, in my opinion.
Hang on, you said it was really slow?
It was super slow in the beginning.
No, you said it was really slow.
I still need to see the sequel as well. I love the first one though.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm gonna try and get Slasher Victim 666 on the podcast. I just popped or just
Oh,
posted my first solo interview ever. And Mark, I'm gonna say not many people missed you, just so you know.
well, nobody heard it.
Actually, it's got more listens than most of our episodes. Just saying.
But you said that it didn't record.
Huh? No, well, they were able to recover it through technical support.
Okay, thanks for letting me know.
Why do you care? You weren't on the episode. So I got to talk to Chris Goodwin, who is the director of a movie called Near. And if you speak to him, he will never take credit for the real films, even though they're attributed to him on IMDb. So it's a lot of fun. He's a great guy, super nice guy. If you ever have the opportunity, he's awesome to talk to.
Hell yeah.
Other than that, I started listening to the Helldivers audiobook series again. I'm 2 books behind right now by Nicholas Sansbury Smith. So that's what I'm doing right now. What about you, Mark? What have you seen in the theaters, Mark?
So before we get on to my movie theater experience,
In case you didn't know, Ian, it's
Yeah.
Long Legs.
Oh, spoiler, Jim.
You
Hey,
posted about it on Facebook. How much of a spoiler is it?
I thought you hadn't heard of it.
Continue.
So I watched No One Gets Out Alive,
Don't know that one.
which is on Netflix, which is based on the same guy that wrote The Ritual, one of
Okay.
his books.
Adam
Uh,
Neville, yeah.
and this was decent enough. It's about a illegal immigrant, and she's trying to make ends meet, and she has to go to this like real rundown place where she doesn't need ID. And she starts to see kind of like ghosts. And kind of like the first hour is pretty
Did I hear
standard.
you right? Did you say something about her having diabetes?
What?
Okay, I did not hear you right. That's very comforting that I did not understand what you just said to me. Why?
Diabetes?
That's exactly what I thought you said. I thought you said she had to go someplace because she had diabetes.
No, because she has no like ID.
Okay.
So for the first like hour or whatever, it's a fairly standard kind of ghost thing. Oh, ghosts in the background and what's going on. The last 30 minutes is a little bit more interesting.
Okay.
There is a supernatural entity, which actually has it's a very interesting design, but it also has design features from the creature from the ritual.
Okay.
Um, so it's worth a watch. Apparently, the book delves into like a lot more detail and mythology and stuff. This is kind of set up like somebody has found a certain artifact and is using that to do something, but it doesn't really explain much.
Okay.
But it's well acted, pretty well directed, worth your time for an hour and a half. And for the first hour, it's pretty slow, but it's okay. It's still interesting. I then watched Jim. I don't know if you've heard of this one. Make Monroe and a certain actor called I think his name is Nicholas Cage.
Never heard of him.
Okay, so he's been in quite a number of things, Jim. If you
Such
haven't
as?
heard.
Explain to me his filmography, if you will.
So he's very like Jennifer Carpenter as far as acting style.
I fucking hate you right now.
No, I'm sorry. He's very like Sherry Moon Zombie.
Jeff just said Nicola Cage.
So long legs. So I'm not going to spoil this. It's brand new, obviously. And according to Jim, there's
Wait,
been
wait, wait. Why are you not spoiling Long Legs, but you were fully prepared to spoil Eight Eyes on the podcast last time?
Because I was just going through my notes and forgot.
Okay.
Because I actually make notes and do research. Jim, I know it's a foreign concept to you.
Yeah, I don't do research. It's no more. It's no fun like that.
No. Unless it's hands up puppets, and then you do a lot of research.
Jeff, keep talking about Jennifer Carpenter like that, and I'm kicking you out of this live stream. Anyway, continue.
You're just like a little Hitler. Okay, so long legs. I went into it totally blind, didn't know anything about it.
How did you not know anything about it? Like it's every fucking where.
Because I didn't watch anything about it, Jim?
I don't believe you.
Okay.
To be fair, I did the same thing.
Jim, we're all not 12-year-olds on TikTok that have to watch every video that pops up on their stream. I don't know how TikTok works.
Continue.
Anyway, so long legs went into it totally blind, didn't know anything about it. This is it's almost like Silence of the Lambs meets David Lynch meets Zodiac meets Seven meets the X-Files. But this is definitely a slow burn.
You lost me at the third meets.
Well, of course, because you haven't seen probably the rest of it.
No, I have. It just sounds very boring now. There's too many meats.
Oh, so you weren't excited to watch it?
Watch what?
Long Legs?
I haven't seen it.
But you were excited to watch it.
No.
But you just said you're not excited to watch it.
Why would I be excited to watch it? I've told you I'm not excited to watch it. So why would you expect the opposite?
Ian, if I could, if somebody could come up with some sort of technology, right, where you could just put your hand through the screen, just slap.
Yeah.
That would be great. Although I don't know what Jim would do with his hands on other people's screens. But anyway, so Long Legs, it's kind of surreal. The main character, again, it's kind of like a Clarice Starling, but she's got some psychic powers. But she's like autistic. Honestly, she's like autistic. And just kind of the premise is that people have been doing like murder suicides, killing their whole family, and they don't know why.
Hey,
And
Mark,
she's, yes.
Karen would like to know how long we've been married because we sound like her and her husband.
Well, I'm very sorry, Karen.
And Jeff just said you ruined the movie. You gave away too much.
Okay, so moving along. So the basic premise is people have been doing murder suicides in their house.
So essentially, we're getting a remake of Sinister.
It does have sinister vibes, absolutely, but they leave behind notes, and again, they're like a zodiac, where it's symbols.
Mark, Veronica says, "Stop trying to make Long Legs happen." That's a Mean Girls reference, in case you don't get it.
Why would I get Mean Girls, Jim? But you would. How stereotypical.
There's now a protect Jim hashtag going in the chat, just so you know.
Well, maybe Section 8. That's probably the best way to do it. Anyway, so long story short, Nicolas Cage is obviously in this. I liked half of his performance. The other half, I wish he didn't go full Nicolas Cage in it. This was an interesting watch. I can understand why people would like it or not like it. My wife didn't like it. I liked it. I didn't think it was great. And it was an like I said, it's very David Lynch, right? If you like David Lynch stuff,
I do like David Lynch.
It's very Twin Peaks.
I love Twin Peaks.
But it's very surreal, where there's a lot of backgrounds where there's just one person in frame and nobody else, even in wide shots.
There's some very interesting hashtags going on in the chat right now, Mark. We have protect Long Legs, stop making Long Legs happen.
Is there any protect the puppets?
No. But Jeff has now added keep Long Legs going.
Yes, Long Legs will run for a long, long time. Jim? Anyway,
good dad joke. I enjoy a good dad joke. That just was not it.
So I think it's more on the art house side, definitely, with the performances and
we now have hashtag move on.
Yeah, well,
hashtag as long as it's not Twilight.
No, it's not as good as Twilight, but it's got that very.
What did you say to me?
I said you love Twilight.
I don't like disco vampires. Thank you very much.
Can I actually finish a fucking sentence for 1
second?
No. Or no?
No. Anyway, continue, Mark. Okay. Ian, yeah. There's now a hashtag we're with you, Ian.
That's right.
In the divorce, Ian, you're gonna have to pick me or Jim. So
no, he doesn't. Because
I-
to be perfectly honest, we're having fun right now, but neither one of us factor really big into his life. He doesn't have to make a choice.
um, Jim, that was a joke.
And now it's save Ian is the new hashtag.
Yes, yes. Somebody rescue Ian. Anyway, I will finish my last sentence, Jim.
Could
if
you
like.
please get this over with?
So the aesthetics is very Seven, where it's very gloomy. Every room is dark. It's kind of the palette of this movie is just so dull and kind of uninteresting that it's almost interesting how they keep it up. But yeah, it was okay. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5.
So now, you Mark, you have become the 3-hour tour because they feel like you've gone on too long about long legs.
Well, of course, because I can't finish a fucking sentence.
Anyway,
Jesus fucking
what else you got?
No,
Mark?
what else, Jim?
What else you got?
What are you?
What?
Hey, Jim, why don't you talk about something?
I don't have anything else to
Why
talk
don't
about.
you talk about it?
I mean, I could talk to you about some of the comic
This
books
is,
I've gotten.
you're going on really long.
It's not
You're
me,
really
it's our
boring us,
audience,
man.
Mark.
Yeah.
Poor Ian. Poor Ian. I feel so bad for you.
Oh, it's quite all right.
I feel so bad for
And
me.
so, Mark, the Veronica would like to know, why did you put us through all that for it to just be okay?
Because it was initially going to be a 1 minute review, but I am not allowed that space on this podcast because little chatty Jim has to chat.
I mean, that's fair. I do have to get our audience participation, so it makes it better for them.
No, it doesn't.
So anyway, Mark, what else you got?
No, that is more than enough.
Yeah, I think so. I
We
think
will unlock the door and let
we
Ian
have
run
kicked
away.
this long legs to death.
I would say I really enjoyed long legs, but I will not be surprised if Jim hates it.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
Jim
that's,
will say it's garbage.
at this point,
Isn't
it's
that
not.
right, Jim?
It's not shocking.
Jim, what are you going to think about it?
What?
What are you going to think about long legs? Do you think?
I have no idea
Why don't you let us know what you're going to think?
because
Do you see how we can continue a conversation?
I'm not about to enter
You don't get to
supposition
a
into this
point because I
conversation.
keep interrupting you.
So let me ask you another question,
No,
Ian.
no. Hang on.
Listen,
So
Kanye,
what
it's
is
not
it-
about you
what do
today.
you think about this?
So I do have a
Hey,
question.
but no. One more thing.
Ian, what movie are you looking the
Ian,
most forward to through the end of the year?
Alien Romulus right now.
Right? I'm so fucking stoked. I can't wait. I have my tickets for Thursday. I better get a fucking
what's that
popcorn
about?
bucket. What?
What's that about?
Aliens.
But what sort of alien?
The ones in space.
Wait, no, in space?
Yeah.
Can you give me some more details?
In space, no one
No,
needs to
in
scream.
space, what?
What?
No, go ahead.
There's a new hashtag. It's duct tape Mark, please.
Oh, I see. Just because I call it out.
Anyway, I agree with you, Ian. I am super stoked. I have my tickets for 7 p.m. on Thursday.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
so excited.
I'm trying to not get so excited about it because my expectations are up here.
Yeah.
I'm just worried that I'm going to be disappointed.
Fede Alvarez has not let me down yet, so I'm going to hold out hope.
Same.
Don't Breathe was
I
problematic.
loved it. And that twisted to that turn it took at the end with the girl in the basement, I was like, holy shit.
I just didn't like some of the character choices in that.
Well, I mean, you don't have to like everybody, Mark. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. I don't have to like everybody.
Mark's getting awfully quiet.
I appreciate your philosophical.
So anyway, Mark, what else you got? Anything?
No, that's it. I'm still playing Sniper Elite 5, which is fun.
Okay. What, Ray? Oh, hold on. Ray wants me to introduce his dog to the world. Come here.
I thought you were his bitch.
Okay, so everybody knows I have a dog named Mulder. This is his son, Buddy.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Jim, I've got an idea.
What?
Can I do a podcast with Buddy rather than you?
Probably.
Probably make more sense.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, Ian, enough about Mark. Thank you very much. This has been a blast. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
absolutely.
it.
Thanks for having me.
If you could deal with Mark again, you're welcome back anytime.
Absolutely. No, it was a blast.
Always.
I appreciate it.
Anytime.
We appreciate it.
Yep. And we will talk to you soon. Okay. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yep. Let me stop the live stream. Stop that. And then I will stop the recording. Yes, I'm going to stop the